Right, I'm guessing this should be live now. You'll have to let me know if you can hear anything though, because my microphone is picking it up, but I can't hear anything back. No sound. No sound, eh? Cool. Alright, thanks for confirming that there's audio. So, yeah, welcome to the stream. I got very little idea what to talk about. Let's just hang out, let's get to know each other, chat. What we could do is probably pull some images up at some point, do some editing or something. Let me try and figure this out, because I've just ruined all my windows. Awesome, thank you, thank you. Right, well, how many we got? Oh my god, I tried to move my windows around to snap on like the Windows Snap where you can put one on one side, one on the other side, and I kind of just broken everything. What we got? 18, 20 viewers. Huh? Honestly, that's more than I expected. The Hoover is actually my laptop fan. This thing spools up like a beast. Like, it's always been like that. It's been absolutely rubbish because of it. And I tell you what, if I unplug it from the charger, that should help. Robert, I could try and save it for a video later on if that's what. If see how it goes. Yeah, I don't see why not. Right, I've just unplugged the charger, which normally means the fan might spool down, so it's not as crazy. So, is it raining here? No, actually, it's forecast meant to be clear tonight. Unless it's changed, which is very likely, because I do live in England. And when you think it's going to be clear, it's not clear. Let me just check. Is the forecast changed? No, still clear from 10 PM until about 4 AM. So that's always good. Love to hear about incorporating narrowband images in final image. Any advice on monochrome processing? Just got my monochrome set up. Right. I think I've got a bit of lag going on because I've just loaded up Photoshop, so bear with on that one. Bortle Sky, high 5s to 6. I do have an industrial estate due north, right on the other side of the trees that you see in my videos, and that has introduced a gradient before. That's why I upgraded my filter. Incorporating narrowbands images into final image. Russell, do you mean like making a HARGB image, or like just a HA composite image? Monochrome processing? Right, so apparently YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Like I said, I think that might be because I've got Photoshop open. Hopefully it'll settle down. Let's see what happens. This isn't actually the strongest laptop in the world. Neo-wise, yeah, I saw it this morning. I had to take my girlfriend to the airport. I was up about 2:30 in the morning. Nipped across down the end of the road, and I could see Neo-wise. There was a lot of like literally bright street lamps right in front of me, and it was difficult to see through them. But I was able to get through it and see Neo-wise, and it was really good. It's the first Comet. I think I saw a Comet when I was maybe 7 years old, perhaps. But yeah, it was excellent. It was just this. It was really nice. You could see the nucleus of the comet and this tail, even in Bortle 6, straight through LED street lamps. That was excellent. How to add BB image maybe. Broadband image maybe, okay. What do you think of this comet? Got some nice shots. Expecting my EVA start on Monday. Any tips? Do you have any other hobbies other than Astro? Okay, so we'll give it a bit, and then I can jump into Photoshop or something, and I can show you how I can try and go about making a HA composite image, for example, adding narrowband to broadband images. If I've got, I think I've got some data on this laptop, because I normally get my data and then I put it to an external hard drive, because I haven't got the biggest hard drive on the world in this. The EvoStar 72ED, you're going to need a longer dovetail. That's my advice straight off the bat. If you're imaging with it and you've got DSLR and whatever like that on the back of it, the original dovetail is just far too small. So I'd recommend getting maybe an 8-inch dovetail. That should be long enough, or 11-inch dovetail, but you're definitely going to need to upgrade the dovetail to reach declination balance. Other than that, it's really solid performer out the box, actually. I think there's an upgrade you can get where you can put a compression ring on the back. I can't remember now. Sometimes use Astro Pixel processors. Okay. Chris, other than Astro, I like doing photography as well, just normal general photography, terrestrial photography. Of course, videos and things like that. I enjoy doing that. Other hobbies? No, not really. No, I used to like working on cars, and then I did it professionally, and I don't like working on cars anymore. Well, I don't hate it. It's alright. It just can be a really difficult job sometimes. Graham, no, she didn't run away because of the kit. She was very upset. Like, she knew that it's all come from Flo for review, so no cash has changed hands. She just hates boxes, and there was a mountain of boxes here. You sometimes use Astro Pixel processor. Do you just stack in it, or use the F remove light pollution, calibrate star colors, and whatever you thought about stretches in APP? I normally use APP purely for the stacking. When I had the 183, the Hypercam 183 camera, the starbursting on the right hand side of the screen, I could never calibrate it out using Deep Sky Stacker, and I had to end up using Astro Pixel Processor's adaptive pedestal remove amp glow function, and that's mainly the reason I used APP. I've used the remove light pollution tool as well sometimes to help. When I did my Soul Nebula, there was a weird, I don't know if it was amp glow or something, but there was gradients in the image. And that's why I've not really done any tutorials with that data until I've got it nice and flat. I used the light pollution tool, remove light pollution tool on that to try and flatten the image a bit. But no, I mainly use APP for stacking. It's excellent for stacking. But when I'm using DSLR images and things like that, or the 533 MC Pro, I just use Deep Sky Stacker. What's my dream telescope? I'm a refractor guy, and I'm thinking maybe a nice refracting telescope. The Stellar Mirror 102, 120 or something. The bigger Stellar Mirror telescope from First Light Optics. That, I have my heart set on that. It's a triplet with 2 ED elements in it, so that's impressive. Knackered, I took 13,500 shots of NeoWise and LLCs. Mel, you're a madman. Alright, Aaron, what's up? Super jealous at CM at 27. Mate, I spent like 3 hours today getting that CM70 set up, like being able to find everything, balance it. Yeah, but it's all set up now. I've had to completely rearrange my cupboard that underneath the stairs I keep all my Astro equipment. I've had to completely rearrange the cupboard down there. I've now got an 8-inch Mac, a 6-inch classic Cassegrain, an 8-inch classic Cassegrain, and the CM70 down there. Like, wow. I kind of like took a step back early today and just made a list of all the equipment I have in my possession right now, and I was like, how has this happened? No other hobbies. Astrophotography takes all your money. Pretty much, Volta. Yeah, pretty much. It does take a lot of money. With modified DSLR, you recommend for a beginner. Okay, so if you have a lower budget, I normally recommend going for like the Canon 450D. It's very affordable, and it's a really forgiving beginner camera, and it's quite straightforward to modify yourself. If you can stretch it up a little bit more, I use this Canon 600D. I think it's the T3i as well. So the 450D is the XSI KISS or Rebel XSI, and then the 600D is also the T3i. The 600D is bigger megapixel camera, etc. like that, but the main advantage of the 600D is the articulating screen. So if you can afford one of those, I'd recommend going for one of those if you can find one modified. Astro Exploring, hey Rose, this video is great timing, just sat editing the latest image. Excellent. What is it? Tell me about it. What is it? How long am I doing astrophotography? So I got my first setup. I got a HEQ5 Pro and Skywatcher Explorer 6-inch Newtonian, the F5 version, PDS, mid to late 2016. And then for a while I was kind of dabbling with it, but I never had much time to get on with it. And then like circumstances changed in my life, and I had to kind of take a backseat. Is this stream lagging at all? Is it a juddery frame rate? Because my screen is showing me it's a juddery frame rate, but what is it on your side? Where was I? Yeah, so I had to put away the HEQ5 for a time when I was working night shifts and I was moving house a lot, and I didn't get a lot of time to use it. I then actually then put everything up for sale because I was actually very depressed and a lot of things were going on. And then I actually got convinced out of it. And then December 2018? Does that sound right? Yeah, December 2018, I kind of just buckled down, bought the EvoStar 80 ED, bought a Polemaster, belt modified the HEQ5 and just went all in on it. So doing it properly, like seriously and regularly, December 2018, that's when I started astrophotography properly. Stellamira 104, that's the one, yeah, the F6 or something like that. Absolutely beautiful telescope. Saw one at the International Astronomy Show and I've been coveting one since, but it's £2,500 or something like that. Seen your GIMP video that you uploaded your image to GIMP straight from DSS. The image was pretty dark, but for me it was completely opposite. Is there a reason why? So, Kevin, did you shoot with a DSLR or was it dedicated astronomy camera? You mentioned I made a move to mono, did not like it, moved back to DSLR. Interested to hear your thoughts now on making the move to dedicated Astro. Would you reconsider mono? Here's the thing about mono. I went to mono with the 183M and it was great, and I thought that I'd really love SHO Hubble palette imaging. I then quickly realized that I wanted LRGB filters. And then I also realized that even with a filter wheel and with parfocal filters, I was having to refocus sometimes. So then I was like, right, now I need an autofocuser. And if I had the money and the infrastructure, yeah, I might reconsider mono. But to be honest, I'm just finding OSC a lot easier. DSLR at the minute, because I don't have the money for a dedicated Astro camera. And to be honest, it seems like most of my audience enjoys DSLR videos anyway. And to be honest, I really enjoy DSLR astrophotography. When it's really hot, it's a pain in the backside because obviously it's you might have seen that L Extreme video I did where it was really hot sensor, and it just makes life hard. But would I reconsider mono? I would do mono if I had two permanent setups, one for OSE and one for extended mono projects. I think that's when I would properly do mono again. There's slight lag, stream is okay, a little. Okay, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. North American Nebula, second time using the L-Enhance, did my first stretch. The L-Enhance filter, mate, it's such a good filter, isn't it? I love that filter so much. If I wasn't given the L-Extreme to review, I probably would have ended up buying the L-Enhance. But until I've been able to finalize my decision making on it, I'm going to probably keep on with the L-Extreme. But mate, the L-Enhance filter is such a good investment. Hello, Roger. Okay, let me try and close Photoshop for a bit and let's see what happens. And have I got anything else I can remove? Let's see. Yeah, let's close those windows and let's see if that helps. Working on SH2129. Oh, I've just lost my space. Excellent. The audio is clean. The playback and video is a bit jittery. Okay, so Kevin, with the DSLR, even with raw files in a DSLR, there's a bit of internal camera processing I've noticed, and that's why your image out of DSS with the DSLR is a bit brighter than a dedicated Astro camera. So that's the explanation of that. I'll see how the stream health goes and how my laptop is doing, and I can see about loading up a DSLR file, and I'll show you what it's like. Explore Scientific 127 FCD 100. It's amazing. Refractors for the win. The Explore Scientific stories. Now, I wanted the Explore Scientific ED102 carbon fiber model purely because I saw Trevor from Astro Backyard using it, and then that set my heart on that. And then I was looking into it, and then I went to the astronomy show, and they showed me the Stellar Mirror 102, and I was just like, you know what? Now I want that one. Really appreciate your GIMP and serial tutorials. More please, don't be afraid of repeating yourself. We need every report. I started using serial the other day. To be honest, it's going to take me a long time to get used to it. I think the interface is a bit... first impressions of serial was the user interface is a bit unkind, a bit unfriendly. But for GIMP tutorials, I'm very glad about doing GIMP tutorials. I actually learned GIMP purely to be able to pass on the knowledge. And I'm glad that the GIMP tutorials are being really well received. Hi, using SkyGuider Pro and a DSLR, would it be better to get a second-hand telephoto lens 7200 or the William Optics Zenithstar 61? That's a difficult question. At least with the 7200, you have that versatility of focal lengths. Is that the F4 version that you're thinking of, the 7200? Because the 2.8 version, I think, obviously faster but more expensive. Me personally, I'd probably go for the Zenithstar 61 purely because that's what it's designed to do. The focuser would be more suitable for it. You can lock it, prime. It's basically a big prime, and prime lenses usually are sharper, better quality, etc. like that. So I would probably go towards the ZS61 on that. Other than the L-Enhance, have you used other LP filters like CLS or UCH? How do you handle star colors? When I first started and I first modified my camera, I ended up getting a Skytech CLS CCD clip-in version. And that was really good. It did good work, but it left the images very red, I noticed, and I think a lot of people have said the same thing. The images come out very red. As for managing star colors, to be honest, I'm going to have to go back and look at it again because I've learned a lot more since then. I've used the Skytech L Pro Max filter. That was alright. I would have kept hold of it, but it started letting in gradients from the aforementioned industrial estate right over the other trees there. So that's why I ended up selling the L Pro Max and getting the D2 filter, the Hutech IDUS D2 filter, which I still haven't had a chance to use yet because now I've got the clip-in version through. The moon is up, so I'm using the Livestream at the moment. But I ended up selling my 2-inch I ended up sending my 2-inch D2 back and swapped it for the clip-in filter because I'm doubling down on DSLRs at the minute. As for handling star colors, from the L Pro Max, star colors were really good out of it. And again, I've not had a chance with the D2. I've had to sell my DSLR for a cooled camera and I'm living in the southern US. It gets over 100 degrees F here. Not sure what that is in fake in Celsius. Alexa, what's 100 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
100 degrees Fahrenheit is about 38 degrees Celsius.
38 degrees Celsius? No wonder you had to get a cooled camera, mate. That is hot. Hello Ivor, welcome. Thanks for joining me at the chat. What else we got? Any plans to use PixInsight? No, not at this time. It's beyond my remit. Now, I'm trying to focus my channel at the moment towards entry level and more beginner stuff. True, I have just received quite an expensive mount to review. But as for editing and things like that, I'm trying to keep it on the more beginner and more accessible, let's say, end of the spectrum. Plus, like Tim Richard from Astro Addict, he does PixInsight tutorials and things like that, and he uses PI more than me. And obviously, you got Chuck's Astro Photography, etc. They use PI. For me with PI, I'm really not feeling limited by Photoshop or Affinity Photo, whatever I use at the minute. I'm not feeling limited by it, and I'd rather put the money for PixInsight into hardware at the moment. Nick, that's great. What camera have you got? What mono camera did you get? Hi, just connected. Have you used backyard Nikon? No, I don't actually shoot with Nikons. I wanted to. I was looking at what the equivalent Nikon to the 600D is. I think it's the D3200 or something. I'm thinking about getting a Nikon and comparing it, but it's just excuse me. It's just that Canon have more products for them, so you have more clip-in filters, etc. for Canons. Not that they do exist for Nikons, but I kind of just picked up a Canon, and you get used to one brand. But I like to think that I'll use whatever I need to get the job done, so I might pick up a Nikon someday. As for using backyard Nikon, probably not. I'd probably use Astro photography tool, but never say never. What do I think of a William Optics Megrez 72N as a first scope? William Optics 72 Megrez. Pull that over there while it loads. My poor laptop is not enjoying this. 60mm 72. Okay, while that loads up, do you plan on using the reducer with that f12 Classic Casa Green? I don't think they have a reducer for it. I'll ask First Light Optics, but they didn't mention anything about reducer, so at the minute I'll be using it f12. I'm kind of bummed out because my house is in the way and I can't see south, so I can't see Saturn and Jupiter unless I try and go portable with the EQ6R Pro, for example. I'd love to get like a 2 times Barlow and use the 120mm and do some planetary with it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I might try and make a disgustingly large mosaic of the moon with it, and if I can guide with it, I'm going to try and deep sky astrophotography at f12. That's probably going to go as well as you think it's going to go. Love the Affinity Photo tutorial. Do I plan on doing more? Yes, I do. I wanted July to be very focused on imaging tutorials. The roadmap I have is like GIMP, then Affinity, then Photoshop. And I'm trying to go through everything and almost give you everything that I know about image editing through those 3 editors. So yes, more GIMP, more Affinity, and more Photoshop tutorials are in the works. Just need to get round to it. Oh my god, they're coming in thick and fast now. My Alexa just answered too. Yeah, 38 degrees C, that's a bit too hot for a camera. My eldest boy has just cooked dinner, so gotta love you and leave you. You want to catch the VOD. Alright Graham, I'll see if about putting it as a VOD. Your ASI 533 MC review, did you say that printing images will be limited because it's only 9 megapixel? Tell us a bit about how to prepare images for printing and what limitations, if any, using, say, a DSLR. Alright, so when you print images, there's like an industry standard 300 dpi. So if you were trying to make a 10 by 10 print, you're going to need, oh man, I'm doing maths live now. Math is not my strong point. You're going to need 3000 by 3000 pixels to get a nice resolution on the finished photo. The more resolution in the image you have, say like a 5000 by 3000, the bigger print you can theoretically do. Now, Alan Mitchell in the comments of that review said you could drizzle 2 or 3 times to make the image bigger, and from there you can then squeeze it down and pack more detail in per square inch, or you could make a bigger print. As for preparing an image, I would make a canvas that's the dimensions I want, so 6 by 10 for example, like that, and I'll set the resolution to 300 dpi. I'd then drop the image into that as a smart object and resize it accordingly and do any cropping I need to do, and then from there I'd print it. I did do a couple of prints. Like, I do actually have some California nebulas kicking around somewhere, but this is an 8x10 of my Veil Nebula. I think this is the one with the mono camera, and this is 300 dpi. I'm fully aware that this isn't great quality for checking out print quality, and then there was a 6x4 of it, a bit dusty, in the Hubble-ish palette that I made. This Megrez. I mean, if the William Optic 72 Megrez has ED glass in it and it's like f6 or faster, then yeah, I could see it being a good first telescope for sure. So let's see. Ben Ursinus, did I notice difference between image quality on the Altair focal reducer and the official Skywatcher reducer for the ED80? Yes, I did. It's not so much image quality, it was just the actual flattening itself. With an APS-C sensor with the 600D, the Altair light wave wasn't correcting to the images. I still had field curvature. With the actual ED80 one, the Skywatcher one, it's completely flat field. So if you're looking between the two, just hold out and get the genuine one. Get the adapters you need, etc. like that. But get the Skywatcher one. You'll be more happy with it. How do I receive all this gear to review? It's because of people like you tuning in, watching my videos, commenting, supporting the channel. And then from there, First Light Optics actually took an interest and we had a discussion and a conversation, and they suggested, oh, we'll send you some gear to review. So how do I receive gear to review? It's because of people like you enabling me, and I'm very lucky to have that, and I'm very humbled by it. So thank you everybody for allowing me this opportunity to pass on reviews to you. And I do my best to be clear and transparent and honest. So that's how I do about that. Sensei AJ, ZWA ASI 120 MCS versus QHY 15 LLC, guiding in planetary camera. Can't make that comparison. I only have the 120 mm and I haven't ever touched the QHY CCD one, so I can't help you on that one. Man Bear Pig, this is why you love like your channel so much. Thank you very much. Oh boy, the list just updated. Will you be looking at the new Canon R6 with 6 micron pixels? I'll be looking at it. Can I afford it? Nope. Unless Canon send me one, it's a pipe dream. I'll never be able to afford an R6. Hi, if you ever want to try Nikon, I recommend the D5300. Bought one, used an Astro modified. Okay, Endless Sky, I'll make a note of that. Thank you very much. The notepad. Come on, laptop, don't die on me now. Nikon D5300. Alright, noted. I'm a beginner and I'm not able to decide whether I should buy a DSLR or a new 6-inch telescope. I already have the 114 telescope. Right, P. Siddharth, if you're wanting to get into astrophotography and you already have a 114mm telescope, if it's a refractor or a Newtonian, if it's designed for astrophotography, you might be able to tell in the description and the manual, for example. If you're trying to get into astrophotography, I have a video about it, beginner astrophotography equipment. I'd recommend, if you haven't got an equatorial mount, go that way first. So get your equatorial mount and then you're going to want a camera. If you can't reach focus on your Newtonian with a camera, you can normally buy extensions or modify the focus tube sometimes. But if your telescope, your 114mm telescope, isn't designed for astrophotography, that's a different question. I got the Altair Astro 1600mm Pro Tech, really love it, works fine with Nina too. Yeah, Altair do good things, do good cameras. I had them, as you might notice, I had a couple of Altair cameras, they were pretty nice, yeah. Richard Grace, what's everybody? Fine over here. I didn't realise I was going to do so much talking, I'm loving it. What's up with you? Ivar, judging from your Twitter post with boxes, here is a pro tip. Always sort out the WAF GAF approval factor. So, like I said, it came in through review, and I told her that there's a package coming. And only on the day did I mention it was like 65 kilograms of equipment, and she said she was she was having a bad day already. And then 67 kilograms of boxes kind of was a cherry on the top of the cake for her. For planetary imaging with a DSLR, the best option I found for Nikon is backyard Nikon for the 5 times. Felipe, that's a good tip. Okay, I'll remember that, and thanks for sharing it with everybody else. Would you consider supplying the file so we can follow it along at the same time? Yeah, could do it all. Depends. Like I said, I'll give it a shot. My laptop is stuttering a lot, but we can always try. We'll get around to doing some editing soon. I'm just trying to have a chat with you guys. Helena, thanks for joining me. Good to see you on live streams. I'm loving this. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot more people here than I thought. Thanks everyone for tuning in. 41 viewers at the minute. This is awesome. Hello Alan, how you doing, mate? Did you mention that for drizzling to work well, that the images must be captured first for using dithering? No, I forgot to mention that, Alan. Thanks for adding that to the chat. So if you're going to drizzle images, you need to dither your images. Richard drizzled an image that came out as 968. That's a big stack, that is. I have the Meg 72. It's built like a tank or very like that. There you go. Go from DIY Astro. Chris's hint there. So if you can afford the Meg Res 72, it looks like that's a good review there. Oh, hi Chuck. How you doing, Chuck? Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying, having a good day. What time is it there? It must be pretty early there, surely. About lunchtime, maybe? 3 YouTubers. Yeah, I know, right? Let's see. Hey Rez, I will post 3 images on Instagram. Are you fine with being tagged in it since Yeah, Kevin, tag me away, yeah, mate. Any special tips for image acquisition and processing with an L-enhanced filter? So I did, what was it? The video I did with the first light on the 530 MC Pro, that was with the L-enhance, and I think I addressed some things I found with it there about shooting through the L-enhance. There's a blue tint sometimes, don't really worry about it, that calibrates out. Special tips for image acquisition. It's a narrowband filter, so you're going to need to use slightly longer exposures, but because it's triple bandpass with quite large bands, it's not that hard. Probably if you're using a DSLR with a relatively fast telescope, probably 4 to 6 minute long exposures. Yeah, Chuck, the comment's really low for me as well. I can see it. I had to just go to the end of the street and I could see it, but it's very low. It's probably like 20 degrees off the horizon altitude wise. Send me some of that gear to the Azores. Well, I think I'd get in a lot of trouble if I was sending this gear about. Love your video tutorials. Thank you very much, Dawn. I keep planning to do more. It takes a surprising amount of time, actually. Like the one thing you won't notice with the Affinity, well, I think with the Affinity one, I had the taskbar up at the bottom, and you could see what time of night it was. Yeah, it took me a while to film that one. Great, thanks. I'll go for that one then. At the moment, still imaging with the 8-inch SET. Just start with guiding. Roll here, hold chain. Nice, the ASI 183. Yeah, I'd love to get another 183 for planetary work because of that really high resolution sensor. Like all these planetary cams that you hear, they've got small sensors, but that also means, they've got small sensors. That also means very low megapixels and low resolution. And how are you going to make a big print with that? So I'd like to get the an 183 sensor for planetary at some point. 8-inch Orion astrograph. Yeah, Galactic Hunter use an 8-inch Orion astrograph, and that apparently works really well. Was it the f4.8? Absolute tank, great speed. Yeah, Astro Explorer, I agree. The astrophotography community is amazing. It's so supportive out here. Chuck won't be able to see near-wise. How much back focus is needed with a 0.5 reducer and a 1500mm film length and 182 Mac? Sensei AJ, that's a really specific question. It's a Mac, so it probably has a large travel distance already with the reducer. I think you might be alright just attaching a T-ring and a nose cone and just going straight into the focus tube that way. But I would honestly recommend picking up an extender just in case. Processing setter right now. Do you have a tutorial for that? No, Don, but what we can do, we can drop my Seda picture in here and we can have a look at that. Ah, Chuck, Comet Dancers are dead. That's sad to hear, mate. The best thing I've seen in astrophotography is Dylan and Dolan 500 artists. I must have missed that one, Richard. Photon Collector, good morning from Canada. Hello, Canada. Blighty speaking. Thanks for joining me. Brand new, don't know, Drizzle and Dither are having my morning coffee right now. Ron, if you are brand new to the hobby, do not worry about dithering and drizzling. Just get familiar with your gear. Get some tracked exposures. Get your equatorial mount sorted. Just get familiar with everything. And as you grow, and you start taking 30-second or 1 minute long photos depending on your equipment, then when you enter into guiding, then you can start being considerate about dither, and then from there, when you're ready, go into drizzling. So don't worry too much about dither and drizzle right now. It's not important right at the start of your journey. Just get out there, get familiar, start taking photos. Rose, is there any truth in the rumour that Machine Head and Trivium are forming a supergroup to record your video opening theme song? I can neither confirm nor deny that, Alan. Make of that as you will. However, that would be really good. Man, it's been a while since I listened to Trivium, actually. Man, this list, the comments list, I keep, like, every now and again it'll just update and I have to move it. How do you deal with light leakage taking darks during the day, especially with longer exposures such as 900 seconds? Yeah, so I think I made a comment in one of my videos how I take darks the night after or days after. With the DSLR, it's a bit more hard. I do notice some light leakage. If it's not too hot, I just put a cover over the camera so it doesn't get in through the back. You could also try and get a blocking eye shield, but if you've got a dedicated Astro cam, then you just put the cap on it and it's no light leakage at all. But with the DSLR, it's a bit difficult. Usually I wait until it starts getting a bit dusk. Besides, by then it's normally a bit cooler. Will NeoEyes get dimmer as it transitions into setting after the sun evening? I can imagine that NeoEyes is going to get dimmer. I've not looked too much into its orbits and its perihelion, etc. like that. I'm just kind of a bit worried about it because obviously we had Atlas and everyone's like, whoa, Atlas is going to be so bright, and then it kind of just died. So I don't want to get too excited about NeoEyes, or it's just going to break up on us. Hello, Maninda, hello there. Any reservations about the Skywatcher 80 ED? So I made the review on it after I had it for about a year, and now I've had it for even longer. The only reservation I have on the 80 ED is it's a really versatile focal length, but I wish it was a bit longer sometimes, but that's about it. Like, other than that, the stock focus is a bit iffy sometimes, but yeah, it hasn't got a long enough dovetail on it as well, and that's the only real reservation to have about the 80 ED. I'd recommend one to anybody any day of the week. I think it's a really good price for the telescope you get. You get a lot of glass, a lot of telescope, and a lot of use out of it for its price tag. Rose, gotta go, man. Keep up the good work. I'm going to eat dinner, drink beer, and prepare for my next image session. See you later, Astro Exploring. Enjoy yourself. Have a good night and clear skies, mate. After I move, I want to get the Orion 10-inch astrograph. I think the EQ6R Pro can... Yeah, the EQ6R Pro can hold, like, what is it? 15, 20 kilograms? I don't know what that is in Imperial, which is weird because I'm in England and apparently most of us use Imperial, but I use metric most of the time. Unless I'm talking about distance, and then I'll use Imperial. But yeah, I think I've had an 8-inch Maxitov on my EQ6R Pro and it threw it around like it wasn't there, and that's a lot of glass. So I think a 10-inch astrograph will be fine on the EQ6R Pro. Do you have Canon EOS RA? No, Maninda, I want the RA, and I did ask Canon, to be honest, but they never... Canon UK said they don't have a media review sample of the RA, which I can kind of believe. Yeah. Deep Sky Stack-Canal Sader with the Opalong L enhanced. That sounds really good. I was thinking about doing it with the L Extreme. I've not had a chance to do it with the L enhanced. I only did Sader and the Butterfly with the Beta 7nm hydrogen alpha filter. Hey, you're doing a great job on your live stream. Just a quick one for you. I'm using an OSE with a CLS, but would you like to get a better filter? What would you recommend? What are your light pollution levels, Stewie? If you're in like Bortle 5, 6, if you've not got immediate light sources around you, then I'd probably say something like an L Pro filter, the Optolong L Pro. That would be a good choice. The what is it? Hutech IDAS NGS1 Night Sky Glow 1 filter is apparently really good. The D2's got good reviews and had some good pictures on Astro Bin, but again, I've not had a chance to use D2. The CLS is great, but yeah, if you're not modifying your camera as well, if you've got a stock OSC, is that dedicated or DSLR? If you're using dedicated, I'd go for an L Pro Max or maybe the NGS1 or the D2. I'm receiving the L Enhance tomorrow. Can't wait to see what it will show. Itty Alta, you'll love the L Enhance. Really good filter. Just beware of the moon glow getting into on the Oxygen 3 band. Rose, how long have you been into astrology? Not very long into astrology, but into astronomy. When I was very young, I can't remember how old I was, I used to stay up way past bedtime watching TV with Sir Patrick Moore and all the pretty pictures of galaxies and nebula. That was always nice. Cultivated an interest into astronomy then. And then, in about 2015, I went through a particularly bad breakup, and to help me get through it, I kind of went back into astronomy, paid a lot of attention to space, and then I got my telescope and moved on from there. Did you have the Canon EOS 60DA? No, I don't have a 60DA. I have a 600D A that I've modified myself. I do darks with my DSLR, put it in a cool bag with ice packs, low temperature, low light leakage. Yeah, cool bag. I've been known to put mine into the fridge, and when that didn't work, I put it into the freezer. Me and I've been pretty much ignoring Neowise after Atlas and Swan. £44. Hey, Mucker, I struggle with getting polar aligned. Will Polemaster make the difference? Polemaster, if you can justify the price tag, really simplifies the procedure. Maybe I should put an entire work through of Polemaster into my videos coming up. But yeah, I always doubted my polar alignment, and I was also far too lazy to collimate and calibrate my polar scope. So the Polemaster really did change a lot for me. It was really useful. And to be honest, I bought that in, like I said, in December 2018, and I've just completely forgotten about the price tag now. It just makes life so much easier setting up. So if you've got the money and you're looking at an accessory and not imaging hardware, for example, then a Polemaster, definitely consider a Polemaster. It does make life a lot easier. Alright, Joe, thanks for joining. Lots of people talking about red rings, Canon RA 8.9. Stewie, the 8.9. Oh, man. Yeah, you might want the CLS CCD filter. That's a lot stronger of a filter. I don't know what the D2 is like in those, or to be honest, 8.9, Chuck might be able to help you more, because I believe he's in Chuck, you in Detroit? Are you? I think he's in high light pollution. Your best bet might also actually be going mono narrowband if you've got the infrastructure in place and the time and patience. But if you definitely want an OSC filter, Stewie, then I'd say the D2 or the CLS CCD. The CLS CCD will have a very big red cast to it, but you can normally try and work that out in editing. Bortle 4 Dawn, that's nice. I wish I had Bortle 4 Skies. I'm jealous. I have a new HF filter with my 450D, and my subs are very noisy, hardly any signal at all. Live in a Bortle F4 with F10 SET. Okay, so F10 is very slow for DSLR, especially when you then cut out the signal even more with HA filters. What kind of length subs are you doing, and what temperature sensor do you know? With that, you might want to bump up to ISO 1600, and maybe you might need to do 8-minute or 9-minute long sub exposures. If you're getting a noisy signal, you're probably just going to have to offset that with longer sub exposures or more integration time. Cripple Sunday 1, yes, it has been a long day. I was up at 2 a.m. Not only to catch Atlas, but to take my girlfriend to the airport. And then I had a 3-hour nap, and then I've basically been running around cleaning up boxes and playing with my new toys, collimating the Cassegrains and setting up the Ioptron CEM70. And I'm at an impasse. It's meant to be clear from 10. I want to go out with the CEM70, but at the same time I want to go hunting Atlas. What is it? Neowise. I want to go out hunting Neowise. And I kind of want to go somewhere nice to try and shoot Neowise, take the Sky Guider and some cameras and actually go further than in my street. So I don't know if I'm going to go out this evening with a deep sky setup, or I'm just going to travel and wait for Neowise. Can we do astrophotography with a smartphone? Yes, you can, Maninda. It's a lot more demanding. Definitely. I'll try and do a video on it sometime. Any idea why it's so noisy? Yeah, the Canon 450D sensor is an old sensor. It's 12 years old or something like that. It's a Digic 4 old sensor. really not designed for this, but you can gangplank it into working. It's just a noisy sensor, I think. The ISO signal noise ratio is not very good, especially at higher ISOs, because of the 1600. But yeah, try and keep it around the ISO 800 mark and just use more subs. Dither if you can, and dark frames. Rachel, when can you expect astrophotography t-shirts? Is that what people want? I know you want one, Rachel. You're constantly writing me about it. But do anyone want merch? If you want merch, then I will work on merch. Andrew Cole, hey Russ, thanks for making your videos really helpful. I appreciate your time making them. Help a lot. Cheers, buddy. You're welcome, Andrew. I'm really glad that they're helpful, people. That's my biggest thing. Like, whenever I put out a tutorial or something that's meant to be helpful, I'm really nervous about whether or not it's actually going to be useful to people. But I'm really thankful that they are helpful for people. Ben Asinus, yep, that's a really good point. You can use SharpCat Pro to Powerline if you have a Pro license. That helps. That's definitely cheaper. Rachel Wood, you're the girlfriend trying to get the money he spent. Jamie Smith, hello mate, how you doing? What are your thoughts on the cheap Antler 3nm filters? Well, if it's a cheap 3nm filter, normally those words wouldn't go together. If it's really cheap and it's a 3nm filter, I'm going to expect low transmission, which means even longer sub exposures, and I'm going to expect halos. There's the old Earth Serpent, there's the old figure of speech. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. But if Antlia want to send me some, I will review them. But if they're really cheap 3nm, I'd be expecting low transmission and halos. Oh yeah, you had to go with the election. What did you think, Jamie? I was up until 2 AM trying to get a Stellamate to work. Gutted. Integration time is 2.5 hours with 5 minute subs, ISO 600, shooting east and fail. So it's a bright target. But yeah, ISO 1600 might be a bit. I think you might still need to go for higher. When I was using my F5.5 80 ED, shooting the Flaming Star Nebula, even when I was doing 5 minute ISO 1600 subs, you might need to just bump it up to 7, 8, 10 minutes. Go Sky Guide only. You don't need the focal length or long exposures. Okay, I'll make a note of that. Richard, I have an Explore Scientific Comet Hunter, great for hunting comets. Well, it's a good thing you know it does its job. 12 years to 450D using one. Yeah, still works. It's what the people demand, okay? You need those shirts. I'll start working on shirts. Hey Rose, have you tried Nina? I had it installed, loaded it up, looked at the user interface, went nope, closed it. But you know what? I need to give it a chance, really. I'm someone who struggles to change with things. I know APT and I like the user interface of APT. But yeah. Have I caught up? I think I've caught up with comments. All right. That was fun. Can you tell Astro Backyard Trevor Jones's phone number? Even if I had it, no, I couldn't. But no, I don't have a direct line to Trevor. All right. What's less demanding, Photoshop or Affinity? Rachel, thanks for keeping me inspired. Rose, love the tutorials and all the time spent helping others. Yeah, you're welcome. It's a great pleasure to be able to help people. Like one point, I wanted to be a teacher because I really love the whole process of learning and teaching and passing on knowledge. And aside from taking 5 years doing university courses and etc. like that, this is satisfying that need to pass information on and teach people. Same here, APT so easy. Yeah, Roger, like the fact that everything's on one screen and it's just tabs, okay, it's slightly cheating, but it's everything you need to know is on one screen. Rune, trying to get into... Oh, how about a tutorial on APT, particularly plate solving like Black Magic? Sure thing, David, I'll get that to the list. I've kind of had a plan on doing it for a while, so I should really action that. Rune, Math... Jason's. Hi, I'm trying to get into guiding and don't know where and how to start. Help, please. What are you trying to guide? Is it a big or wide field telescope and things like that? I do have a video, affordable guiding bundle. If you go through my channel videos, I have one there where I recommend a small guide scope and an ASI 120mm Pro, and that's a good way to start. It's nice and affordable. What's the plan for the CEM 700? Any first targets planned? It depends what I throw on top of it, really. I think I'm buffering a bit. Hold on, I'm just loading up Photoshop. I might actually use Affinity because I think it's less demanding. The CEM 700, any first targets planned? Not really. I'm probably going to just try and see how the tracking is, what it's like unguided, what the whole procedure is like. It's got the iPolar fitted as standard, so that's going to be used. I've never used the iPolar before. It'd be nice to compare it to the Polemaster. But other than that, I'm probably just going to use it like the Q6R Pro, but with longer telescopes on it. And the other thing about the CM and 700, the CM70, it's a bit not portable. Like, it takes up a lot of space, but yeah. Nice Instagram page at Astro Photography. I'm Astro Beard. Thank you very much, Richard. I'll check you out if I see you. You can see me as a teacher now that you mention it. Yeah, maybe one day, maybe one day. I'll try this. I was shooting the moonlit skies. I'll try when there's no moon here. Can you talk about using DSLR and narrowband filters for really great images? One angry DPG. I did a video literally all about using narrowband filters with the DSLR. But yes, I can talk more about it. When you're using DSLR, particularly for like hydrogen alpha, for example, you cut out a lot of you cut out a lot of data reaching the sensor. If you know what the Bayer matrix is, that's whether it's like the RGB on most cameras. And if you're using a hydrogen alpha filter, you only really get light through onto the red pixel. So you're working at a quarter image resolution, well, quarter detail. To get really good images with DSLR and narrowband filters, you're looking at much longer sub-exposures, much more sub-exposures, and ideally you want to dither your data because it helps, because everything moves slightly, it kind of just fills in those gaps and makes your image a lot smoother. So DSLR, narrowband, it's integration time and dithering, really. I went from Nina to APT and I don't regret it, although I'm the same way when it comes to switching programs. Yeah, like I get familiar with things, and that's why I think Affinity Photo is so comfortable for me, because it's very much like Photoshop. There's a lot of similarities between the two, I feel. Can you arrive India at hand after COVID-19? No idea. I struggle to auto guide. Don't we all? My SV205 won't do it. Any recommendations for an inexpensive guide camera? Yeah, the SV105. I used it in a review and I never used it for guiding, and then people addressed that you can use it as a webcam for guiding. You only can pulse guide with it though. It hasn't got an SD4 cable on it. The cheapest camera that you can probably find, there's one kicking around on eBay, but if you want to go for a named brand, Alta Astro GP Cam V2, was it the AR130 or the ZWO ASI 120mm? They're both relatively affordable cameras. I'm saying relatively because I think they're like £120 each, which is still quite expensive for some people, but it's all... The problem is when I hit questions like what's affordable, the difficulty is everyone's affordable. What affordable is for people is very specific. So obviously if you have more money, then other things are affordable. But yeah, if you can afford it, the GP Cam AR130 or the ASI 120mm, those would make two good guide cameras, and they're also mono cameras if you just want to do some mono solar system work. Here in Ontario, Canada, thanks for your help, really appreciate it. Clear skies. You're welcome, mate, you're welcome. 750mm with an APS-C. Yeah, Rune, check out that video I mentioned about the affordable guiding bundle. I think that one will help you. It's an Astro Essentials mini guider with an ASI 120mm. I meant APT to Nina. Alright. Roger, thanks for tuning in. Catch you about, mate. I'll keep the videos coming. Got loads planned. They said the ASI-120 Mini is a great camera. Use it with CG5. Works great. Yep. Hi, any chance you have any news on the Skywatcher EvoLux series? No, I actually saw a post about it. I messaged Skywatcher on Instagram, I think it was, and I said about, oh, what about this EvoLux? And they basically said, oh, we've not launched it yet, and they didn't reply to me after that. So, no, I have no other information about the EvoLux. I think their doublet's meant to replace the Evo Star series, and that's about it. They have different focal lengths as well. My favourite thing is the framing tool, although the fact is it's giving me the sense of temperature for DSLR is the only downside I found. Yeah, especially if you do like what I do where you shoot your dark frames on a different day, being able to temperature match is obviously very important. You need to build an observatory to house your new gear. Yeah, if I owned this house, I'd love to build an observatory, but we rent and like that's not an option, unfortunately. So Dazza, yeah, I'd love to build an observatory, but I need to have a mortgage first. Looking at getting a go-to mount Skywatcher EQ5 Pro or the EQM35. What would be best? I have no experience with the EQM35. Where did I go? Oh, I've lost it. There, EQM3. I've never used the EQM35. I know Astro Hart, who was just here, he uses, I think, an EQ5 Pro, and he's working right. So a Skywatcher EQ5 Pro, I think, if you can afford the HEQ5, you get a bit more carrying capacity, but I think the price difference is quite significant. Plus one for the ASI 120. Couldn't relate as ESS in. Maninda, I live in the United Kingdom. I switched to Nina when I got the Moonlight autofocus set. APT just doesn't focus automatically. Nina. Yeah, Nick's Astro. I've heard about APT's issues with autofocuses. I don't use one personally, but yeah, I've definitely heard that APT has issues with autofocusing. Ruin, will your guiding setup from the guided starter pack work with a 750mm scope and an APS-C camera? I use it with a 600mm scope that's modified to 510mm. It works absolutely fine, and I have no reason to believe it won't work with a 750mm scope. It keeps you in that like 1:3 pixel ratio, so I have a good feeling that it would work just fine with a 750mm telescope. How much improvement did you get from the belt mod with your HEQ5? I had the NEQ6 and worth the effort. Honestly, I changed a lot of factors at once when I did the belt modification on the HEQ5 Pro. It was definitely a lot better. The backlash settings, the backlashes reports I was getting in a PhD were much cleaner. So it definitely helped in that aspect. And when I took it off, I saw a massive bit of backlash like that. It was huge backlash. So that cleared all that up, and then just also the fact it was much quieter just made it that much easier to use, especially if you're in terraced houses like I am, and if you have any respect for your neighbours. Yeah, so the biggest significance I found was it definitely increased, it helped backlash and the noise benefit really. Do you need a go-to mount for guiding? Yes. You can, yeah, you do. Oh hi Galactic Hunter, nice for joining me. Is that Antoine and Dahlia, or is it just Antoine or what? When do I plan to take a trip to the desert and escape these clouds? There's no deserts in England. I'm pretty sure some people would say otherwise about certain parts of the United Kingdom. But if you're talking about coming out to Nevada, for example, then, well, when flight becomes available again and when I have enough money to buy a plane ticket. But no, mate, it would be absolutely great to go out to like a desert and actually shoot under Portal 1, 2 or something. Yeah, I'd love to do it. Probably in a couple of years, I'd imagine. My bank account isn't very healthy. Benasinus, got to go, but thanks for the helpful content, mate. It makes me foreign interest much more simpler. You're very welcome, Ben. Have a good evening, mate. Clear skies. Greetings from Kent. Greetings from Northamptonshire. He's afraid of spiders too. Don, you've got 71 stacked photos of Seda. Do you want me to process them? I can send it if you like. Sure, if you send it as a WeTransfer. If people want to do that, if you want to send some files to my email using WeTransfer or something like the stacked TIFF, then we can see about doing some editing maybe. Just if you're going to send some files, use WeTransfer, it's easier. The email address is astrofastography@gmail.com, and just in the title name, just please put your name and what object it is. Maninda, I live in Northamptonshire. Alan, Antoine, I think you, me and Roz need to do a trip to the Grand Canyon's North Rim. That would be epic. Richard, to the desert for Jupiter and Saturn. That would be awesome. I'm highly jealous about that. Can highly recommend the ZWO EAF, but can't comment on using it with Nina or APT ECOS though for Stellamate. Yeah, if I was going to get an autofocuser, I'm looking at the ZWO EAF as well. Most non-drawn 2 mounts don't have guiding capabilities. Oh, if it's a replacement for the Equinox range, yeah, that's pretty good then. It'll fit in. Yeah, I suppose with the Pro ED series, there's some definitely some gaps. Like not an F10 100mm version, and the Esprit is just obviously really expensive. Jamie, Jamie, have a good night, mate. Enjoy with the C8. Welcome here anytime. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll have to hit you up on that sometime, mate. Got to head off for us. Keep up the great work. Your processes and videos are very helpful. Thanks a lot, David. Clear skies, mate. Your awesome work. Good afternoon, Amy. Thanks for tuning in. I imagine the weather here on Vancouver Island is pretty similar to UK weather. Cloud and rain, and then cloud and more rain. Pretty much, Photon Collective. Yeah, pretty much. We normally have cloud followed by rain, followed by rain, followed by cloud, and then 30 degrees Celsius, and then clouds. I just went from an EQ3 and DSLR to a Creator 183M and a CM60. Massive leap, still learning. That's a big leap for sure, but I think you'll definitely have some good benefits from that for sure. What objects do you want to shoot if you have to get rid of your gear? What object do you want to shoot if you have to get rid of your gear next week? Oh, okay. Like a Hail Mary, like a Fon Farrell target. I'd probably say one of the Veil Nebulas at this time of the year. Yeah, probably is it the Eastern one? That looks like alien. Probably the Eastern Veil Nebula. I looked again an Equinox one time, but I never could afford it. Will an EQ5 go-to mount track with the standard software, or do you need a separate computer program? It will track through the handset. So on the handset, you will slew to your object because it's a go-to mount, and then it will set itself to side reel rate, and it will start tracking from there. You don't need alternative programs. New equal next. Yeah. So I'd probably shoot one of the Veil Nebulas. I can get PhD to recognize my mount, AVX, and my camera's SV, but I don't want to try to start guiding. All drivers are installed. Any ideas? Still confused about auto guiding. What errors do you have? I think it needs to connect as a webcam to be recognized as the SV205, and it has to be plugged in via USB and pulse guiding. You probably have to control your AVX through a laptop and use an ASCOM software to get it to work and guide that way. Pillars of Creation. Yeah, to be honest, I totally forgot about that because honestly, those core Milky Way objects, not only are they blocked by my house, they're really low in the United Kingdom and I struggle to even see them. Great channel, looking forward to more APT videos, please. Yep, Christopher, I'll put that to the list. I plan on making some APT videos, but the list is like, the list of videos I want to make is like my astrophotography equipment list. It just constantly gets bigger. No matter how much I buy or make, it constantly gets bigger. First experience in astrophotography, seeing Jupiter and full moons through a rifle scope. Oh, awesome. Richard Grace, meant astronomy. Thanks. Tried doing the Veil Neb last night, ended up with getting a single sub. Not getting it. Wow, Joe, that's rough, mate. That's rough. What do we have here? Might consider doing DSLR caller by Martin Piot. He has a great channel too. The name sounds familiar. I think I've watched a couple of his videos. Now, I've looked into doing the whole DSLR callers and the Peltier caller and things like that, but then when I look at the equipment list, the work required, and how some people just make huge call boxes, I kind of just think, I can't be bothered. Do you have any experience with drifting when you guide? My stars are pinpoint sharp and round with 5-minute subs, with the slight drift over the course over a couple of hours. That sounds like a polar alignment issue. So if the stars are constantly sharp, but the image is shifting, and especially if you're not dithering, that sounds like a polar alignment issue. Any experience with the LX85 mount? Your thoughts on it? No experience with it. Is that a Meade? And is that a fork mount? Yeah, I've never used one of those ones, unfortunately, Amy. Philip Butcher, hello, just ask. I have also ASI 533 MC Pro and Matt. How long my exposures are stacking, processing in Photoshop? They're still really grainy. What gain are you using? That would be my first question. What gain are you using with your 533 MC Pro? You first go to, the first thing you went to was Uranus. Excellent, I love it. Never grow up. Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, Amy, I've never used a Meade mount, to be honest. So I can't really help you on that one, I'm sorry. Right. Let's hop into Photoshop now. Let's make sure this is right. There we go. Getting an issue where the mount does a meridian flip and PhD then doesn't work after that. I sleep while I shoot, so trying to piece together what's happening is difficult. Serpent, that's constant. That's one of the reasons why I've always been really hesitant about just leaving it unattended. I will normally have some form of issue, but PhD doesn't work after that. You'll probably need to do a recalibration step on it, that's why. So what have we got here? I have stack.tiff. I need to name my files better, to be honest. Need more subs. I'm going to plug my laptop in for a bit more, so the fan's probably going to kick in, but please bear with me. I need to charge my laptop because I don't want it dying. Alright, so well, actually, hang on a minute. Let me just... find what I've got going here. Do I have a stacked horse head already? Boardman stack. Why don't telescope companies install a simple tracking button on their hand controllers once you've done star alignment? A lot of them do, Joel. Some of them will normally set their tracking right to sidereal automatically. By the way, if the fan is really bad, let me know and I'll just unplug it. But I'm trying to get a bit of charge back into my laptop. Downforce using a larger guide telescope. I have a big 102mm Orion refractor and plan on using it for my guide scope once my ASI 120 if you're going to use a 102 refractor as a guide scope, I assume you're trying to guide something really, really long, like a CT or a Mac, because that's a very big telescope to use as a guide scope. In theory, it will give you a better pixel scale and it should give you better guiding. If you're trying to guide something really long, though, you're going to want to probably look into off-axis guiding. Thanks for making the GIMP videos. They're really good ones. They're hard to find good. Oh, sorry, they're hard to find good ones on YouTube, especially up-to-date version of GIMP. No problem at all. My pleasure. I really enjoy making the GIMP videos. I made GIMP videos purely just to help teach people, and then I realized that GIMP was a lot more capable than I ever would have given it credit for. I used GIMP once before, and I was just like, oh, I'm not getting along with this. And then, yeah, it just got better. El Miko, if you're talking to me about using dither and darks, I always dither and always use darks. Excuse me. Serpent, can I send you some purposely awful data for a challenge? Yes. You got my email address, and yeah, you can just send it through a WeTransfer link. Not really, I'm using it because I'm too broke to buy an actual guide scope. I just have the Orion laying around. If it's all you've got, you can definitely give it a try. Depending on your budget and what you're trying to guide with anyway, you might be able to get that mini guided bundle I recommend as well. But if you've got it lying around, by all means give it a shot. Again, if this fan is too bad, please let me know. Right, so here we're in Photoshop, and someone mentioned about using narrowband data with broadband data. And also someone mentioned about using the Altair flattener versus the Skywatcher flattener. So this is the broadband version of the Horsehead Nebula I shot with a... Your PC fan isn't as bad as my tinnitus. Mate, I've got bad tinnitus as well. I know that feel. So this is a broadband stack of the Horsehead Nebula shot with a Canon 600D on the Evistar 80ED and with an L Pro Max filter on it. And then the broadband was shot with the Astronomic 12 nanometer. The PC's fine. Scope is immediate LXR mute. Yeah, definitely, Amy. I would recommend just give it a shot. 6 newt. If you've got it going around, you might be able to get it to work. Yeah. So I'm just going to start doing some editing here. I'll take your questions if you have any questions using editing. If you're wondering why I'm using Photoshop and not GIMP or Affinity, it's because it's familiarity. I know Photoshop a lot better than the others. So what I always like to do is use adjustment layers, especially in Photoshop, because they're just easier to control. Start doing some initial adjustments. So this is, I think someone mentioned earlier about how their RAW files are a bit more brighter because they use a DSLR. So this is what you'll probably see with the DSLR as opposed to a dedicated Astro camera. So as always, I'm going to use a threshold adjustment layer just to find out where the bright and dark points of this image are. You see, like, this is nebulosity in this one. For once, it's not a gradient, but there are some soot on the sensor. So yeah, I don't want to sample Allen attack, that's too bright. Any more questions, guys? Keep bringing them in, mate. I've been enjoying answering them all. Thank you for all your support. So I'm just going to do some rough edits to this so it gets to a point where I'd start doing a composite image. So feel free to keep sending those questions in. 1, 2, 3. So this is one thing that would be really indicative of using a modified camera, especially because you've removed the IR cut level. Even though you add another filter back in, you would normally find a red cast over things. And also this up here, these are stacking artifacts from the dithering and just stacking in general. I think this is one of those files where flat files didn't really help. As you can see, there's still some dust on the sensor. Yeah, Alan, I know, right? No questions for Photoshop done. Okay. Would you rather? You know, I was thinking about using Affinity. You know what? Let's use Affinity. Little astrophotographer, have a good one, mate. Clear skies. Can't afford Photoshop. Really, mate? I do not blame you. Once my Photoshop trial is over, I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to go into Affinity full time. Is NGC 4567 available this time of year in the States? Amy, do you use Stellarium? There's this bit of software called Stellarium. It's a planetarium and it's excellent for being able to find what's in your skies, when and where. If you don't have it, I definitely recommend it. You make me buy it, aren't you? No, Don, I don't make anyone buy anything. I just use things, and if people are interested in it, then use it. Alright then, you twisted my arm. I understand that Photoshop isn't everyone's cup of tea because of the price tag. So, we'll use Affinity. Just give me a bit of slack, like I said. I'm not completely fluent in Affinity yet. So, broadband stack, again, just normal things I do. Threshold adjustment layers. So like I said in the editing tutorial, this is your grey point. And this is really good for being able to find where you want to put your samples. Yeah, Affinity is a great bit of software. Definitely very good. So add another sample point. I'm going to drag this one over to this bright star. And I'll drag this one to the sky behind it. And then I just delete that. There we go. How much is Affinity? I think at the minute it's on offer for like £40 or something. It's dirt cheap. Let's have a looky. Windows, £50. So it's a great price at the minute. What's your opinion on the Skywatcher EQ3 Pro mount and EvoStar 72 ED, a Canon 450 and a SW Evo Guide 50mm with a ZW ASI 120? I also consider getting a dedicated astrophotography camera. Any advice? Yeah, don't bother with the Evo Guide 50mm, to be honest. The Evo Guide has really good glass in it, to be honest, but you don't. If you're just using it as a guide scope, you don't need the better glass. So I would save your money on the Evo Guide and get a cheaper guide scope. Consider getting a dedicated astrophotography camera. Any advice with the 72 ED? Yeah, you're probably looking at something like the 183 sensor or a 294 sensor. Right, where was I? Background. Okay. So start doing my curves now. The initial stretches to bring the details out. Oh, just got to double check something. There we go. My sample point's fallen off that star. Can't be having that. This time of year I use 0 degrees, nice clean data. Alright, let's do some stretching. Again, like I said, this is really something you would expect with an Astro modified DSLR, this red tint to it, but it's nothing in the end of the world. Easily rectified. Going to drag that top bit. Moving the top bit here does damage initial dynamic range of your photo, it seems. If you look at the histogram, it pushes the data towards the left, but you can easily bring that back. Jeff, my videos are primarily focused on AP. How often do you just observe? I found myself adjusting. Very little do I do of visual, probably because I only have one mount. I have an HEQ5 Pro, but it's in bits at the minute. Excuse me, because I'm changing the power port on it to upgrade it before I sell it. But I'll probably observe a bit more these days with the cassette grains I've just got through. The 533 best settings for ZW533 Pro. Unity gain, which if the top of my head was it 200 for that camera? Yeah, I'd probably just set it to Unity gain, and if you've a decent speed telescope, about 5 minutes. 3 minutes for broadband, 5 minutes from narrowband. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to merge this down. Normally I don't merge things, but like I said, I'm trying to do a lot at once. Livestream, data editing. This is not laptop designed for this work. Actually, what I'm probably going to do is just resize this. Can I change it? Nope. So I'll make it. I have tried them all, but we'll try Unity Gain with flats, bias, darks. Thanks for the advice. No problem at all. I have a T4i 650D currently sitting on my Ledge Painter. Process of removing the filter. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Sometimes they're mounted on spring tension on the screws. So mark the screw and then count how many turns you do to keep trying to maintain some of the focus, some of the back distance, and use gloves. Use like latex gloves just to help. Also, touch a radiator or something to earth yourself if you're not using an anti-static mat, just to get rid of all this static electricity out of your body, and that way you don't risk damaging the camera. And as for the actual removal of the IR filter, it's probably going to break on you. I will tell you that. You can try and cut it out, but the chances are it's going to snap. It's going to break. It's a very, very brittle bit of glass, so just bank on it breaking. Alright, I've resized this image and I've knocked off my points, so just going to reposition these. I don't like that one now, I'm going to put it there. As someone mentioned about the Altair flattener, this is what I was talking about. This was with the Altair flattener, and I'm still getting this field curvature in the corners. And up here as well, a bit of dust on the sensor. So this is what I found with the Altair flattener and an APS-C size sensor with a 600D. It didn't correct the entire field of view, but with the Skywatcher one, it does. So if anyone's wondering, the Skywatcher 80ED, for example, I would say save up and wait for a genuine Skywatcher reducer flattener. Yeah, I kind of wish that I could have the comments on the same screen as the editing, so I don't have to keep looking back and forth, but I'm doing my best. I've still got 42 viewers. Thanks for everyone tuning in. I think I've just got an email through. Someone might have sent a picture through. Earth Serpent. Mediafire. Yeah, I'll try and get onto that at some point. So I'm going to try and fix this red cast here, and one easy way you normally do is just in Photoshop you use levels and select a grey point here. I don't think Affinity can do that, so I'm going to do a levels here. Yeah, and I'm just going to align the channels manually on this by using the readout up here for the whites and the darks, the bright point and the black point. Yeah, Serpent, I've got the data, mate. I'll try and get round to it. You can see on this image that there's obviously an abundance of red, so we need to balance the image out. So I'm just going to go to red, and I'm going to try and balance everything down to 240. I like where 240 is, and I'll probably put the black point down to about 40. So I'm just going to change the black level here. In Affinity, it takes a second to update, so just slide it and stop. 48. We'll do 48, and it's gone to 236 there. That's fine. Instead of the Skywatcher reducer, what about an OVL flattener? OVL I think are an importer of Skywatch products in the United Kingdom and possibly elsewhere. I think they're like the budget brand, but I believe their flattener is very similar to like the Altair ones. So I'd probably say no. Do you still rate the 80 ED? I'm wondering if it's worth saving for an Esprit 100. Yes, I still rate the 80 ED. If your price tag is around that margin, I would always say get an 80 ED. But if you're looking for a triplet and you've got your heart set on the Esprit 100, yeah, it's wider. It's I think it's about the same focal length. If you absolutely need a triplet telescope, get the Esprit. If using a filter like the L-Enhance, shoot 300 seconds, subs, then put a UVIR filter and take 30 seconds for your stars, combining post-processing. Yep, that sounds like a good plan. Oh, I don't know, I'm getting cold or something. Sorry, I'm getting a bit nasally now. Alright, I can't bring this down to I can't bring 246 down to 236 because if I move the white level, it's just going to brighten it. So I need to change the output white level down. Fun fact, if you use the eyedropper tool in Photoshop to balance colours automatically, it changes the output levels to match. And I need to bring the black level back up again. And then into the blue channel, do the same. Bring this down to 48 first. I'm not going to get too pedantic about it. Yeah. So what software do people use here? Do you use Affinity? Do you use GIMP? Do you use Photoshop? I think we've got a few GIMP users in here. And maybe another stream I'll use GIMP for you guys. But GIMP is one of those that I step away from it for a while, and then when I go back into GIMP, I need to just warm up to it. I need to use it for a bit first and just relearn where everything is. So that's what we started with. But just by balancing out, we've managed to achieve this. Do I recommend the Optolong L Pro filter? I used a couple of I've used an Optolong filter now, and it's all right. Yeah. Would I get the L Pro filter? I can't see why not. If I was getting an L Pro filter again, I'd definitely look at the Optolong one. Again, I'm just going to merge this down. PixInsight, very expensive. And from here, I'm going to do another curve stretch now. Again, I don't want this to go above 255 because then I start clipping data. A lot of PixInsight users as well. What do you guys like? When did you start using PixInsight? How long have you been using PixInsight for? Okay. So I'm going to do this and merge it. Based on my best post-processing results, you'd think I use a clay tablet and a Logos processing software. I mean, that could work as well. I mean, your pictures look fine, Alan. I don't know why you're knocking yourself down. Using GIMP, I'm thinking about trying PixInsight. The thing that puts me off PixInsight is, again, not only is the price tag, but the learning curve. And now I'm going to do an S curve here because I want to raise the contrast. So I'm going to darken the background and then boost the nebulosity a bit. Again, making sure I don't break 255 like that, and then I'm just going to bring this down and flatten this curve out a bit. So we've gone from that now to that. GIMP now has a Photoshop load that mimics Photoshop shortcuts. Oh, awesome. 2 years since you used PixInsight. Wish you'd brought it earlier. Oh, that's alright then. Guys, I'm going to have to plug my laptop back in. Please don't hate me for the fan spooling, but my laptop fast losing battery. On the tack here is always historically a very bad, very difficult thing to fight, to argue with, to try and control. I might try a star reduction on it. From here, I'm probably going to try and do another S-curve. I'm going to try and get the background a bit darker. For this, another tip you can do is use this picker. If you click picker and then click where you want in the background, it will automatically put a sample point on the curve, and then it helps you do your curve stretch a bit better. From that to that, added a lot more contrast now. It's still very red. Why is that? Let's look at the histogram. The red is still up there. So I'm going to try levels. I'm going to try and balance these colors again. Not using the info panel, but I'm probably going to use the histogram and see if anything happens there. Used GIMP, just switch to affinity like both. That's awesome. I didn't mean for you to go through all the trouble of editing. Maybe just talk about how to use SO filters with broadband. Just got a set of filters. Again, alright, I'm just going to speed this up because I don't have a stacked broadband and a stacked narrowband picture ready. So I'm going to have to get them in that place. You know, I've got a tutorial for this. I'm just going to delete those. So with a narrowband image, you're going to be looking at something like this. And you'll notice, and I'm not doing threshold adjustments because I'm just going to try and speed up a bit here. That's a bit of an aggressive curve stretch. So if you're shooting narrowband data with an OSC, you're going to have a red image like this. And what you're going to have to do is you need to get the red color channel out of this. So in Affinity, and most other ones, you have to go into the channels and click the composite red. If you look in the green and blue channels, there's no data, but in the red channel, here's all the goodies. I also need to resize this. Okay. I need to try and remember how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go into the composite red channel. I want to control all these. And then in Affinity, you need to make what's called a spare channel. And from there, I'm just going to rename this to like red channel, so I know where it's come from. So that's what you have to do with OSC narrowband images, especially HA. You just need to go into the red channel and pull out that data from where it is. And then you just need to load it in. So I've got an empty composite layer here. I'm going to go into my paint bucket and fill with white. Oh, why are you showing me up? So I'm not entirely familiar with Affinity at the moment, so just bear with me. Create spare channel. Pixel red. Load to pixel red. The Show Me Tools action, I've heard a lot about that. I've not looked into action groups at the moment. I'm currently struggling, as you can see, to make this a flood fill colour. I've got no idea why. It's not behaving itself. Thanks, Philip. I do my best, like, as you can see, sometimes I need to relearn the software myself. I'm planning on making an Affinity tutorial about HARGB and things like that, but I just need to get completely familiar with the software myself. That's why I'll use Photoshop usually. Never heard of it before. Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah. There's some things that aren't as intuitive as Photoshop. Like, for example, this. But, you know, you get around it. Ah, okay. What if I do that? Nope. Oh, this is so frustrating. Why wouldn't you do what I want you to do? I know it's something about making a spare channel. Do a tutorial later and post it for us. Yeah. To be honest, I'm gonna go into Photoshop because it's a lot easier. Like I said, I'm more familiar with Photoshop. With making it HARGB at least. That's one thing that Photoshop has, is a lot more intuitive in that aspect. You just copy and paste. Whilst with Affinity and GIMP, you need to pull it out of the channels and anchor it and paste it and this and the other. It's a lot of hassle. Yeah, Corin, yeah, the computer is struggling for sure. The fan is harsh on this thing. And I'm live streaming and image editing at the same time. So it's a very unhappy panda at the minute. Try to get a bit more charge into it and then I'll unplug it again, and from there it'll quieten down. Right now I currently actually have two image editing programs open. Come on computer, you can do it, I believe in you. Could I do another tutorial on processing from start to finish using Photoshop? I do have one. Was there a specific one you had in mind? I do plan on doing a Galaxy one. Okay, so in Photoshop, because I'm more familiar with it, when making a HARGB image, for example with Photoshop, you'll just go into, I want you to rasterize. I'm going to go into the channels, and in here I can just Control A, Control C, and paste it into another layer. I said I can paste it into another layer. And from there I can now make my edits here. Corin, thanks for your help with GIMP. Watched it the other day. Thanks very much for the support. I'm glad it was helpful for you. So here's my narrowband data. This is the hydrogen alpha data. And from here I just need to make a couple of curves and increase the contrast. I need to pull this down, for example. Got to pull that up. It's a very low contrast, so I'm probably going to do a lot more of that. I'm probably going to make another curves adjustment, do another S curve to bring that contrast out further. You can see the histogram expands. But you're glad you're at RAM. No, I still only have 12 gigabytes in this laptop. I just batter it. I have no mercy. No chill. Thing is, it only has one fan in it as well, I think, if I remember correctly. No, it has two fans. It's just, I don't know why, it just spools up so hard and works overtime. Okay. So this is my hydrogen alpha data of the Horsehead Nebula. And you can see if we compare this red channel, which is the narrowband, to the red channel in the RGB version, you see the greater contrast? I think there's more HA data here as well because this looks cleaner than this, which is pretty ironic from what I said earlier, right? Thank you. Nice horsey. There's something about the Horsehead Nebula. For ages I wanted to shoot it, but never did get onto it. Now I have one. So this is the benefit of hydrogen alpha data. It's got a lot more definition to it than this one. Like, look at the tendrils here of the wall of it, and then the flame nebula. And then when you compare it to the narrowband data, it's just a bit more definition. So to make this into a HAR... Oh man, the image is rotated. Making this into a HARGB composite, I'm going to do one more curves. I want to increase the contrast a bit more. Without getting too bright. Okay, so I'm just going to flatten this. And then when you're making these composites, you want to go to your RGB image, your broadband image, and then you need to pull the red channel out of it. So I'm just going to click the red, Control A, Control C to copy and paste that. And I want to blend it in with the HA data. So I'm going to paste place the red channel over the hydrogen alpha, if I learn to type. And then we just got to align it. So that's going to take me a few minutes. Aligning is a pain in the backside. I absolutely hate it. If I'm having to do this kind of manual alignment, what I normally like to do is get a star in place, like this one for example, and then I find the... Where is this? I try and find the center of rotation, but I can't on this now. And then I just try and rotate everything around that one center star that I've got lined up. And this is the gory pit that you don't see when I make editing tutorials, because I edit my editing tutorials. Looks like it's slightly a bit, the size is a bit different. Photoshop and Lightroom is like £10 a month, but free is best. Difficult to edit with Alnitak. Yeah, Alnitak can run away from you in a lot of photos. Alignment is easy in PixInsight. I don't disagree with that either, because it's like, I think the advantage that PixInsight has is it's designed from the ground up for this job role. How's that? It's a bit messy down in this corner. And this is because the camera moves slightly. If I was doing this again, I'd either stack it with Astro Pixel Processor, which might be able to line them up together, or I would put like some masking tape onto my focus tube, and that way I can then rematch my rotation really easily. So this is now aligned as much as I'm going to do it. And I just realised I'm going to have to realign this again anyway. Oh. So anyway, so this is the red channel, and that's the hydrogen alpha behind it. And then what I do is I blend a bit of the hydrogen alpha into the red channel. It's not much. Different note, do you have any recommendations on starting a new astrophotography channel on YouTube? Yeah, Serpent, reference frame and DSS, that also works. As for starting YouTube, to be honest, just start. That's what I had. Like, you just got to get on with it, and you have to understand that your first few videos, or your first 10 videos, or even your first 20 videos, for example, they're not gonna get probably as much traction as you hope, unless you're really good at marketing and SEO, and you're just like really good at making videos to begin with, which I don't know if you are or not. I can't speak about that. Don, yeah, sure, you can send one. As for starting YouTube, yeah, just get on with it. That's what I did. I just one day I started my astrophotography YouTube as a way to document my own journey. So I just woke up, I made a YouTube, I thought of a name, and I did it. So that's a 33% hydrogen alpha blended into the red channel, and then I'm just going to stamp this so I have a combined version of this, and then I need to paste this into the red channel. What about oxygen and sulfur layer? Same principle. Yeah, so if you're making an SHO, for example, then you map SHO to RGB. So you're going to put sulfur into red, hydrogen into green, and oxygen into blue. But you'll do the same thing. You'll edit your photos in mono individually, and then you would go into you'd make like a white image like this, and then from there you need to paste your images in. So you'd have 1, 2, 3 tabs open with SHO all edited, and then a fourth one open with a white canvas, and then just paste it in. And then from there you're going to have to, maybe if they're not lined up, you'll have to align them, and then from there you'll have to make some further adjustments to balance the background, balance the colors, make everything happy and work together. Do I have... So this is my blended HARGB layer. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to paste it into the red channel. And then I'm going to just transform the red channel back into place. Gradient Exterminator, yeah. That's one of those tools that I keep meaning to buy, but just never do. No, behave. I want the red channel. Select red, and then select the green channel. Oh, that'll do. Chris, I tried to do a Debye mod on my camera. I broke 2 sensors doing it. So it's a bit blurry because I did an appalling job at blending the two. But let's see, layer visibility. So this is just RGB, and then this is HARGB. So there's not much of a punch. If you wanted a bigger punch, you can add more hydrogen alpha into it. Hasta La Vista Green is definitely an amazing plugin to have, especially with DSLR images. There's always a bit of green that crops in. And this is a HARGB image. From here, I'll do my normal adjustments from there on. Make another layer, vector smart object. I can't rasterize this. No, okay, whatever. Another curves adjustment. Don, are you sending that Seda through? And from here, I'll do my normal steps. I'd then like take the background out, modify the background, do the foreground a bit, and then go from there. El Miko, if you're doing a DSLR, if you take one apart, what I recommend is like get some paper and draw an outline of your camera, and each time you take another bit off, put a screw where it's meant to be on your drawing. So it's what's it called? A screw map. I think it's called a screw map. You just make a screw map, and then you're not going to misplace your small screws. Just don't knock the table. Let's do a star reduction. Let's reduce Allen attack. Let's see what happens if we reduce Allen attack. I'm going to sample those. No, let's use the highlight slider. Right, so I want to expand this.
2 is usually defined as the cardinal number that is the sum of one or a numeral representing this number or.
Alexa, stop. Alexa wanted to be part of the live stream. And like I normally say, I normally feather this just to get the sharp edge off of it. Richard, thanks a lot for joining us. Clear skies to you, mate. Have a good one. And then where is it? Filter other. Oh, before I do that, actually, we're going filter other minimum. Ooh, we can actually reduce our Alnatech quite a bit. Maybe not that much. 10 leaves a bit of a nasty outline around it. 9, 8. Yeah, exactly that, Photon Collector. That's exactly what it is. Like, what is that figure of speech? Build it and they'll come. I had no, what's the term? Preconceptions or assumptions of when I made this. I was like, I'm just going to make videos because I like doing it. It's going to document it, and if people enjoy it, they can join me along. And yet somehow I'm still baffled about how I make videos that was like 3,600 people are enjoying. So I was like, wow, how did that happen? But I'm very appreciative of it and I enjoy it greatly. Right, so minimized Alnatech, but it took a big toll on all the other stars. So I'm going to end up making a layer mask, a black layer mask to hide everything, and then I'll just use a white paintbrush to reveal the reduced stars, not that one, and then I'll blend this layer in further. There you go. Alright, let's see. So Don said he's going to send a picture in, and we'll walk through this photo together. And then I might call this, we'll start wrapping this stream up. So I'm going to play around with this data a minute. I'll be right back. I desperately need to use the facilities. Just gonna drink, you guys. So who's got clear skies forecasted for tonight? Your videos have always been constantly improving and always very watchable, although the MPay one seemed a bit odd. Yeah, Jason, what happened with the MPay one was my lav mic has two settings on it for a camera phone or a camera, and I had it set to a DSLR setting where it actually switched the microphone off, and I never realized it. It was only a little bit afterwards that I understood. So it was only after it was published I realized that I had the microphone set wrong. So that's what happened with the MPay one. So anyone, you are a bit tech minded, it's not that hard, it's just a bit scary in the beginning. Agnes Sebo, hello Mr. Farside, I love the pillows in the background, could you please advise where to find them? Well darling, you can find them at the Furniture Village. Hello Aggie, how are you? My voice hurts. Picks and cut costs more, Alchemist, tier size, crappy leather and AZ wildfires. More wild AZ, Arizona? Wildfires everywhere. I'm hoping to photograph the Nebula or East Vale tonight from Arizona. Good luck with that. Iris Nebula, very nice target. Or East Vale Nebula. Depending on the moon, I'd probably say you might have better action if you went for the East Vale Nebula, especially if you use narrowband filters. The Iris being a reflection nebula. Philip, yeah, I keep planning on getting it. When I get some money, I might buy the Astronomy Action Tools set. Where was I? Oh yes, I was about to download this data. Set up already, just waiting for the sunset here in Slovenia. Oh, hello Slovenia. Good luck. What are you imaging, Alice? What are you going for? We had clear skies early this morning. It's cloudy here in London this evening. Got to get up at 3 AM. Last 2 months gone, no go. Hi everyone, how you doing? Hello James, welcome. I miss you too. Well, I thought I'd have to do my hair. You wouldn't have been happy if you were here earlier, Aggie, because there was literally boxes, like there was astronomy equipment everywhere down here. You would not have been happy. I also dragged the monitor down here. I've made downstairs into my office now for live streaming. Joe Stafford, Mediafly. Oh, Joe, you sent me a picture through retransfer and Earth Serpent. We got 200 to enjoy. Joe, I'll have a look at those files when I can, but Henry got there first. So, yeah, Crypto Alchemist, yeah. 2 hours of constantly talking. My voices begin to feel it. 2 pints of water and 2 cups of tea later. M20 tonight. Excellent. Nice choice. Cave Nebula, Astro and Co. shared by Anonymous. HA03 and S2. Okay. Don, are you sending that SATA or do you want me to look at this other data? Oh, I'm having as much fun as I can. This is really good actually. I really enjoyed this live stream. I'm going to do more often than that. Don't do mine now. I've got dinner. We'll be back in 20 minutes. If we're still streaming in 20 minutes, sure. Joe, let's see. Canon 1200 DA, Skywatcher 200 PDS, Astronomic CLS clip filter. Enjoy. What I'm going to do maybe with some future live streams, I thought about doing it tonight as well, but to be honest, I just wanted to pilot this live streaming shenanigans. If it all works well, then maybe in the future I'm going to do more of these, like editing your photo live streams. So if anyone's up for that, let me know in the chat. Rosie, you're still going. Just set up on top of a hill, skies are clearing, and this is looking good. Yeah, Jamie, still going, mate. Still going. Oh, like a madman I am. I don't think I'll be sleeping tonight anyway, because like I said, I want to go shooting the comet, and yeah. But I best not say that out too loud. My ever patient partner might start worrying. Alright, let's see this data from Joe. He normally has really good data. He's a really good photographer. Ooh, okay. Right, so this is a Horsehead Nebula from Joe Stafford. Get yourself down south. Planet, seeing about it, mate. Seeing about it. Oh, this is one thing. This is one thing that I'm looking forward to with that classic Casa grain that I've got. They haven't got a corrector plate on front. They've got a spider lattice to hold a secondary mirror. So I'm going to get diffraction spikes. Do it and put Leprechaun 2 in the background. She's such a diva. Oh, Leprechaun. Which comment? Oh, Neowise. James Astro, just realised how late I joined. Lol, just want to say, Rose, your videos have improved a hell of a lot recently. Keep it up. Oh, thanks, James. Yeah, I put a lot of effort in trying to get my videos better. I'm glad that it's been showing. Definitely happy. Thank you for your support. And yeah, it's a bit late in this live stream. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep going for. I need to get some dinner soon and decide what I want to do. Can I make it a JPEG? Don, you can make it a JPEG, but that's going to really limit the editing abilities. But yeah, if you need to send a JPEG, use a JPEG. How do you use polar alignment using SharpCap? How good is it? Polar alignment in SharpCap, you need a pro license. And then you can use your guide scope and a guide camera. You want to use a wider guide scope, about 200mm. I find it's a bit clumsy. You need to wait for the refresh rate and stuff like that. It might need to constantly take 3-second images, but you know, for the sake that like a license for SharpCap is like £10 a year, and you can get it for that, it's very cheap. So it does the job if you're not going to get something like a Pole Master and you've got a bit of time to put into your polar alignment. Evening comment now. No, the comment's going to be up about 2 or 3 a.m. See, that's what I can't decide. Do I want to set up my deep sky equipment and then just image through the night, or do I want to try and find a nice like foreground background and go for the comet, like do a nice struggling to speak here at the minute because I'm trying to change this mode. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go to deep sky tonight, or do I want to go traveling somewhere and trying to get a nice shot of the comet with a nice like composite foreground, background, etc. like that. Can't do it, don't know how much about computers. Don, can wait, mate. When you get round to it, yeah. Too far, 250. Get up early and grab the foreground shot. Get up! I might not even go to sleep. I napped a bit when I got home today, and I woke up about midday actually, so I'm not all that tired at the minute. I'm fully aware I could just press one of these and balance it that way, but I like doing it the hard way because I'm a masochist. Yeah, so who else thinks, like, would you be interested in like an editing your photos live stream where you send a few pictures in and we'll get around to the ones we can and get them edited and see what the crack is? If you're interested in that, let me know and I'll see about doing it more. Right, let's start editing this now that I've balanced it a bit. I'll raise that contrast. Need that contrast. Matt, is anyone here still from the start of the live stream? I think I've seen a few of the names who've been here for a while now. Thanks for sticking with me. Ooh, Joe. Ooh, that's a lot. See, this is the reason why I want a big, like, Newtonian or something like that. This is shot with a, what is it, a 10-inch Newt? 250 or 200? It's like, look at this detail. This resolution. The resolution of the image. So beautiful. I'm going to pull this out for a bit now so the fan can relax, so the audio might go a bit better again. Yeah, this images like this is why I covet a big Newtonian again, because this is wonderful. This is really clean data. Joe, how much data is here? What kind of stack is this, mate? Gonna go now, too tired. Good luck with your comment. Have fun. Good night. It's good to see you. Good night, Aggie. Well, if you're going to bed, well, enjoy your time over there. I'll talk to you soon, yeah? Love you. Don't worry, got all night. There's 200 meters. Yeah. So is this the Explorer then? Is this the Skywatcher 200mm Explorer? Right, what are we looking at? I need to raise the contrast a bit more, I feel. And then there's a hint of green. And I don't have Hasta La Vista green still installed. I had to change my... If you follow me on Twitter, you might have noticed how my laptop died. And I lost all my stuff. Love you too. I lost all my my plugins and stuff. So I was outside this morning until 3 a.m. with my Canon 600D and Canon 720mm Skywatcher Adventure. Yeah, Corin, I saw that you had that 70-200. How's that going for you? Have you used it for much Astro yet? I'm going to flatten this image. I don't normally flatten images, but I need to give my laptop a break. So let's see. It looks like there's a bit of a green cast, but the levels are still okay. If there's a bit of a green cast, it's really typical of DSLRs. Let's do a color balance first. About 4 hours. That shows then. It's nice data, mate. Nice data. Yeah, so still too much of a green cast. So what Hasta La Vista green? In this case, you would like click filter others Hasta La Vista green, and it would change the output levels a bit. But I'm just going to do it manually. I'm going to look at the histogram. If we look up here on the histogram, can you see where the green is? I'm just going to wait. I'm going to try and pull that down a bit, and using the histogram and my own eyes, I'm just going to manually color balance this image. There we go. That's removed the green cast that I didn't want there. And if this is triggering anybody, then I'm gonna help this. There we go. Oh mate, this is really wonderful data. Really wonderful. What else we got? Let's see. Let's add a tiny bit more of curves to this. Did I get the email? I'll have to check. Hotmail. No, I need to check my Gmail. I haven't had a notification about an email yet. I'm going to do a very slight S-curve here now. Just raise the contrast a bit. It's plenty. Oh boy, my laptop's chugging. Oh, it's chugging, alright. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm kind of always happy with this. Dropped off for a bit to do a paid marketing shoot just to throw it. Phil, oh, that's all right then, isn't it? You're a professional photographer then, Phil? Right, I'm going to pull the background out now. I think I'll do the background and then I'll do the foreground. And then I might make a luminance layer as well. So I'm going to select color range and sample the background. And let's see. No, I want to sample the background. Oh, there's red tint to it. That's probably what's happening here. Oh no, I'm in highlights. Been about a month and trying to balance with ISO and exposure time. Yeah, I can imagine that's a bit difficult. Oh, my stream's buffering. Are you in like centre London where it's like Balsall 8 or 9? Because that's going to be insane. High clouds are always those ones, isn't it? Like they always look like they're not there, but then they get you. You think, oh, it's a clear night because you can't really see them, but then they get you. So this is the select and mask function in Photoshop. Absolutely brilliant tool. Learned it from Trevor Jones. And it's a really good way of making a nice soft feather, nebula look. Super clear in Nottingham. Hope it stays clear. So do you. So I hope it stays clear for you as well, mate. Nottingham's a nice place. Only about an hour away. It's nice up there. I really need to go there again sometime. I need to go there because I need to give MPay their stuff back. So right now I'm just manipulating the background, so like space, individually to the nebula. And then from here as well, I can do a noise reduction layer separately. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to actually duplicate this layer. Then I'm going to mask it. And I'll apply that mask there. Yeah. Guys, is the stream buffering? Because I'm getting the buffering logo. Just a happily paid amateur. Folks tend to see my images, ask what I can do, mostly architecture and real estate. I wanted to get into real estate photography at one point. Don, no, I've not had no email through. Is the stream buffering? Still working there. Don, yeah, that's right. That's the right email address. It's not come through yet for some reason. Okay. On my live stream dashboard, I've just got this spinning beach ball of death. So it looks like YouTube on my side's dying, but it's fine. If the stream's still going, that's all that matters. Sent it twice now, no buffering here. Awesome, excellent, thank you. Don, I'll check my emails again, but I've not had no notification about it yet. Gmail. No, not yet. Alright, so let's do some noise reduction on the back here. So with a layer and a mask selected, I'm going to go into the camera raw feature, which is excellent. I love the camera raw. It's not in your sent either, don't know what's going on. Double check, the image might be too big. You might not be sending it. So what I like to do here is zoom in and have a look-see. I'm not sure how much I like the new camera raw. I preferred it when they had the tabs. But camera raw is one of my favorite features because I can just add more contrast, drop the shadows down. Clarity is also excellent. I'm going to slightly desaturate the background ever so slightly. Then let's zoom in and look at the noise reduction in work at work. Yeah, the L enhance will work fine in Portal 8 for sure. Portal 7, 5 minute Oxford, Portal 5, Portal 4. Noise reduction, there we go. That's a bit too much. What's the darkest skies you guys have ever seen? I think the best I've seen is maybe Portal 4 down on the south coast. It was during the summer as well, and the Milky Way was out. It was the first time I'd seen the Milky Way. It was absolutely gorgeous. It wasn't like popping out, but it was just this glowing band across the sky. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then me and my girlfriend were on the south coast, and we were just watching the moon set over these cliffs. And it was absolutely wonderful. What a nice day. What a nice night that was. We're on our way to the southwest, actually, down to Dorset and Durdle to see the Durdle Door. We just dropped off and it was awesome. So this is what a bit of camera raw feature on just the background does with a bit of noise reduction and a bit more contrast. See how much it's cleaned up the noise. Really good tool that is. There's only so much you can sometimes do with noise before it starts just getting it. It starts really looking nasty and you get this weird dithered noisy look to it. Going to merge those curves down into it. Portal 0 in Slickerboat, Namibia. Wow. I didn't even know Portal 0 was a thing. Mine was in Central Wales, Portal 2, Portal 1, New Mexico. Wow, I'm all jealous. Look at these Portal 1s and 2s and 0s and stuff. Oh, that's amazing. It must have been real good sights. Did you take any photos while you were out there? Scales 3D portals. That's for Barbados. Wow. Are they the darkest guys you've done astrophotography in as well then? Or is it just when you were like on holiday or... I'm going to flatten this image again because my laptop is absolutely unhappy with me. Sent as a pic. Yeah, still nothing, dude. Still nothing, unfortunately. Send it through WeTransfer. I'm not going to do the same isolated edits on the foreground, so I'm going to... No, I didn't want to select the mask just yet. I need to go into select color range. L hope the filter mod TFO hope come from. I hope that filter. Nope, no pics, just enjoying the view. Alright, Outgain Subs, how you doing, mate? Welcome, thanks for joining me. No pics, just enjoying the view. Went camping, don't blame me at all. When I was at that like Portal 3 cliff face, I wanted to take photos. I took the Omega Mini track with me and things like that, but in the end I just kind of ended up sitting there and enjoying it. It was nice to not worry about taking photos actually. Like, as much as I love doing astrophotography, sometimes I don't do that much visual, like looking through the telescope, but sometimes it's just great fun to just watch naked eye astronomy. That's what I do some nights, especially when my partner's already gone to bed and things like that, and it's just a nice night. Normally around the new moon period, I'll just go outside and stand around and outdoors for a bit. Which program for the green? It's called Hasta La Vista Green. And that's one that you can use for the Greencast if you don't want to just manually try and do the edits and the levels, etc. like that. Several thousand images. Madman. Alright, so now I'm just going to do some contrasted nebulosity and maybe some selective sharpening. It's a bit extreme that, but it's alright, I can blend it later. A few people ask me when I do my star reduction. It's really dependent. Like, I've not done my star reduction yet, but after I do these background and foreground edits, I'll probably end up doing the star reduction next. Live in Portal 7 and 8 and an untracked image still astrophotographically is wonderful. Would love to visit darker sites. Wouldn't we all? Dark sites are like the dream, isn't it, right? We all want dark sites, but in lieu of those, filters do help, but obviously are never a substitute. What I love here, Joe, is that even though you haven't framed up Alnitak, it's still trolling you with this one enormous diffraction spike going through the picture. You just can't defeat Alnitak, can you? Like, look at this. Look at this. Same image neutral quarter of the time. Yeah, I bet. And I bet they're a lot cleaner as well. Am I happy with that? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Again, I kind of want to do some... I want to do some sharpening, so... I'm going to merge that down. My favourite tool to sharpen sometimes is the clarity slider in Camera Raw. So I'm just going to make a background copy. And again, I'm going to select the same bit of nebula that I want to do, which is the red part, right? And I'm going to select the mask again just to refine that selection. Darker sites, I believe they need longer sub exposures, because I think in light pollution you're obviously being limited by picking up light pollution, right, before your sub washes out. So in dark skies, I do believe you'll need longer sub exposures. All right, I'm going to mask this layer, and then I'm going to select my thumbnail of the actual image, and then I'm going to go back to my lovely Camera Raw filter. Yeah, this is a good horse. Joe's got a nice photo here. This is what makes me really then just want a big Newtonian. That's why I'm really excited to use these big classic grains I've got. The only issue is, like I said, they're F12, I think. So they're a bit slow, but what can you do? I mean, I've got them for a review, and I'm not kicking that at all. I'm not like knocking that in the slightest. Noise, bit of color noise reduction. You can never escape helm attack. I think I just used the healing brush and got rid of the image. Yeah, that's a lot of healing you could do. So a bit of noise reduction, and then to my favourite thing, the clarity slider. Like, you can go nuts, but what I love about the clarity slider, it just, look at that. Adds a lot of kick to the image. I don't normally pump it up to 100, but I think this image is going to benefit from having it up to 100. There we go. And because I've masked that, none of the other stuff is getting hit by that 100% clarity. The other thing you could do is a high pass. So I'm going to duplicate this again. And then I'm going to go to filter other and a high pass filter. Get the 200 DPS. You talk like I have money. Waiting for those YouTube dollars to come in, I guess. No, I don't get paid that much. Now, I'll definitely like one, I think, but at the meantime, I've got too much equipment on hand. What mount do you recommend for the Woe Magrez 72 EQ5 for future-proof scope upgrades? If you're ever joining Astro community, we'd love to have you on our Discord. Yeah, send me an email. Outgoing stuff, send me an email, mate, and give me more information about it, and sure thing. What I can get with 2 hours from a Portal 4 skies takes 12 hours from Portal 7 backyard. Yeah, it'll be cleaner image, wouldn't it? It'd be better signal to noise ratio. What mount do I recommend for the Magrez? If you are going to stay with light, small refracting telescopes, then the EQ5 should be fine, and you won't have to worry too much about that. If you're looking at getting a bigger Newtonian in the future, you're going to want to get the HEQ5 Pro. That gives you about 11 kilograms of carrying capacity. That's about good for a 6 or 8 inch Newtonian telescope plus accessories. Or if you're planning on going really big, like Schmidt Cassegrains and things like that, you're going to want something maybe like the EQ6R Pro or equivalent. Like, I know I talk a lot about Skywatcher products. I'm not at all. I don't know if I feel like I have to say this. I'm not sponsored or anything by anybody. Skywatcher don't pay me to plug their products, for example, but I just love Skywatcher products. Then with the high pass, to get the high pass work correctly, put in a soft light filter on it. That's another way you can sharpen your images. Is auto-guiding really beneficial from Portal 8? I usually can't take longer than 45 subs before washing it out. We'll be trying a new L Pro filter tonight though. Greg, if you're doing 45 seconds unfiltered, yeah, you'll be able to do longer using a light pollution reduction filter for sure. And what else could you do? If you're guiding and you're in Portal 8, you could then really take advantage of narrowband filters, which you would need guiding for. The LX85 mount handles my 6-inch new Orion 102 refractor and all accessories no problem. It's only not $799. There you go. There's one recommendation from Amy there. So this had a bit of sharpening, but I feel like the contrast has been washed out again. So I'm just going to stamp this. I'm probably going to do another slight S-curve. Just to try and restore some contrast in this image. There you go. I'll call that a day. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I haven't done a star reduction yet. Let's do a star reduction. Color range, highlights. I've never done a star reduction on a on diffraction spikes. I was interested. I always wanted to see how it would work out. Modify, expand by 3. Modify, feather by 5. Filter. Oh, hang on. I'm going to deselect this. Filter other than minimum. Yeah, the sub. It's not so much me pushing the CPU. Yeah, I'm pushing my laptop hard because I'm obviously live streaming and things like that. Like, how bad is? Please just tell me how bad is this fan? Because it's terrible on my side, so I can only imagine. It's probably because I'm also it's charging. It's when I'm charging it, the fan ramps up like a demon on this. When I plug the charger in and it goes from like to 100% fan. It's really bad. I bought this laptop from PC Specialist and I'm never going to do it again. So that was a bit extreme, I think. So I'm just going to lower the opacity of this to about 50. How does that look? There you go. So you don't, oh, excuse me. Yeah, so that's what I do with this. And I think that's that horsehead image edited. I mean, do you ever finish editing a photo? You thought the wife had started vacuuming in the other room. Yeah, yeah. Joe, thanks for that. That was a lot of fun editing that photo. I love the resolution. I love the detail it's picked up. Especially when I go and compare it to my one. Let's see. Scarwatch EQ6, nice tested mount. Lovely image there. Thanks. I just did the editing. The data is actually Joe Stafford's. You can find him on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. So that's one thing I like to compare. Even though this was a HA RGB composite, and to be honest, I really cranked up the noise reduction. You can tell by the weird look to it, like this weird pillow effect, feather effect. But this is the difference of aperture. Like you can see the more defined edges and the details here when you compare it to something like this. And this one has the benefit of having hydrogen alpha data into it as well. So that's the difference that aperture makes for sure. Plus, what do you people think about diffraction spikes? I just saw Almiko there likes diffraction spikes. They're alright, I think. Like, it's one of these things, like diffraction spikes for a while, I think about it and go, yeah, and then sometimes I'm just like, nah. I'm sorry, that sounded really horrible. Where am I going? What am I looking for? Where did I come from? Where did I go? Where did I come from? Cotton Eye Joe. What was I looking for? Oh. No, I still don't have the image, Don. Diffraction spikes look fantastic on M45. I can imagine, like 7, 8, 9, 10 really bright stars in the general frame there. Check my email now. Did it get put into spam? Oh, that's legit. Nice bit of spam there. Oh, here we go. Good luck, America first. Don. Seda 61 stack. Right, so this is a picture from Don. And this is a Seda 61 stack. I can immediately see a blue color tone to it. So Don, tell us the details here. What camera, filters, telescope, etc. Tell us the details about this image. This is the Seda region. Did you get any of the butterfly nebula in? Let's see. I shall put a color sampler over here, and I guess we'll sample Seda itself. Click. Now my girlfriend's gone. I can tell you guys, I'm planning on having a doner kebab for dinner tonight. What are you all having? Let's see. It's a very dark image. And Seda is very bright. Not done anything with it yet. That's cool. Yeah, what was the integration details? Telescope? Camera lens? How long were the sub exposures? That's too extreme. Last night, Orion 8-inch astrograph, 1 minute exposure with L enhance. Oh, cool. Fillet steak and chips, lovely. My partner is a vegetarian and really doesn't like red meat, so I've had a few steaks in the freezer for a while, and now she's away for the week. I'm planning on having steak at least 2 times this week, and I'll enjoy eating my steak. There's not a lot of red data captured. Was this a modified camera? One each with a Nikon D5200. Oh, this is Nikon, nice. I've never edited an image from Nikon. I need to pull the red up. There's no red in the shadows, so I can either move the grey point, but what I'm more likely going to do is use the output levels down here. No guiding. Oil platform between Qatar and Iraq. Nice. Does it get dark there, or did the lights on the oil platform wash the sky out? So I've pulled the red up, which has balanced the background a bit. Still very much on the blue side. Maybe I need to... No, I don't do that with red, do I? I need to do it on the greens and the blues. Not modified. Ah, that'll explain the red signal then. slightly better, more balanced. I think I'm just going to crank the red signal up even more. Wrong way. Well, I need more red signal doing. Yeah, I'd imagine that, Dave, yeah. That must be a shame. It must be like you're there in the middle of the ocean and you think you'd have really dark skies, but then, yeah, all the lights were in the sky. Just finished some barbecue, some spare ribs and some chicken legs in the backyard. Nice, that sounds absolutely wonderful. It's been ages since I had that kind of stuff on a barbecue. What have we got going here? The flare and high immunity are a nightmare. I can imagine. I can definitely imagine that. Yeah, Corin, what's time? What's time for dinner? I'll hop into the car and come down. So you guys like to see more live streams in the future? Have you enjoyed yourself here? I've enjoyed having you here. Yeah, something's being teased out. Barbecued lobster thermidor and champers. Well, someone's living the life. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Don. I don't know how much further you can take this data. It looks like there was no flat frames either. There seems to be some uneven field illumination here and here, which would be rectified with flats. Did you take any calibration frames? I might have missed it. And the Al Shaheen oil does it. Oh, lovely. Look, I'm just going to pull the reference picture up. Just notice as well, it's an 8-bit stack, so if I change it to 16, it might help a bit. Collimation, yeah, the collimation looks absolutely bang on. That's really clean there. This is where you could use Hasta La Vista Green. Dark frames in camera, yeah. Flat frames are where you take like a white t-shirt or something and just shoot it over there. Shoot like an empty patch of sky with a t-shirt over the telescope. And what it does is it helps show the camera vignetting and dust bunnies. So this is a dark frame that I'm loading up now. Is a dark frame from that my Seda picture. You can see this is what flat frames do. See all this dust on the sensor, etc. That's what helps be calibrated out. So this is my one I took. Let's have a look here. Let's see what we've got showing. So I can definitely see some dust, some nebula appearing here. Let's try and figure out what orientation we're looking at. Yeah, shining a torch over it works as well. Like, does anyone here use flat panels? Like flat field generators? One min sub with 1 min dark. Yeah, that's fine. Are we looking at it like that? Ah, it looks more like this. I mean, I understand that there's two different image scales going on here. Yeah, something like that, I think. So, white screen app on the tablet. Yeah, I used to use one of those sketching pads. James, yeah, exactly what I used. Artist Trace Box, like £10 from Amazon. Next time you do a video, you can use a 12 min stack of M13 I acquired from a Portal 4 site. That sounds like a good idea, Almiko. Send it over to my email, please, if you want me to use it. I've used the APT and SharpCap flat generators. I use a light panel advertised for light therapy. Works great. Tablet is a good shout out for flats these days. Yeah, the great thing I find about using a tablet or your phone, for example, is that some lights have, especially if they're LED, they have a 50 hertz refresh rate, and if you use a shutter too fast, you'll get banding. You'll see the rolling shutter, and so sometimes that helps. Longer subs would definitely help, but if you're not going guided, then it's good. The issue is the L-enhanced filter is, like I said, it's a narrowband filter, so it's cutting out a lot of light. And you really need longer sub exposure with narrowband filters, and the lack of red signal is probably down to the hydrogen alpha blocking and the IR blocking in the camera combined with the HA blocking in the filter just meant that there was no real red data captured. That's why the color balance is off. Can I make it black and white? I certainly can. Image adjustments, black and white. There you go. It looks better in the black and white. Just get the histogram to the halfway point, your flats will work. Yep, Almiko, 33 to 50%. Use the yellows, bump the greens up a bit. No. Increase the blue there, helps. Enjoy the rest of your live stream. Off to sleep now. I've got a meeting at 5:30 tomorrow morning. Thanks. Wow, that's an early start for you, dude. Thanks for joining, Dave. Have a good night. And all the best, buddy. Use a white t-shirt and then let the scattered sun bouncing off a ceiling to evenly. Yeah, bounce flash, bounce light. Definitely helps. One way of doing it. Yeah, converting this image to mono is probably the better way of presenting this one in particular. I mean, that sounds really rude. I feel like that just sounded really rude. I hope I didn't come across rude by saying that. I just mean it reduces the color balance issue. What do you like to do? Selecting the mask? No, that's not what I wanted. What I'm doing, I've got the star tube right, so if I pull that down there, can you see the difference that's making? Pulling that down is helping control it because it's reducing the white point by breaking. I could send some HAO3 of the crescent nib if you're after any narrowband to process for a vid. Could do, yeah. See, now that this is in mono, I feel like there's a lot more opportunities to deal with this here. You can add even more contrast. So another curves adjustment. Look at the size of this histogram now. There's more data covering it. So I'm going to bump it up a bit more. And then I want to address the sky in the back. It's still not going to contrast for me. So I'm just going to do my sampled colors on the background. Increase the feather, increase the contrast. Yeah, you definitely got something here. Definitely got something. You can be happy with this, dude. About there for me. I'm just going to duplicate that. I'm going to invert this mask. Yeah, mate, there's your picture of Seda. That's what I'd probably do with that. Bit of noise reduction won't go amiss, so we're going to go into camera raw. My email, it should be on my YouTube about page, but if not, there you go. Noise reduction. There you are, dude. That's what I do with your data. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, this one looks good in mono. Guys, I think 15 more minutes and then I'm going to wrap this stream up. I've been almost talking now for 3 hours straight, which is perfectly fine for me, but boy is my voice struggling now. Oh, you know what? Let's do some star reduction. I think it's because how fast I'm trying to go. I keep forgetting to do some steps that I normally do. And then expand. And then, you know, I should really probably just make this into an action, because I usually do is expand 3, feather 5. Send you back the finished pic. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is going to be interesting here. But let's do a noise reduction now. I mean, a star reduction, other minimum. So that's too much. What about 2? See, it's what you can normally tell when you've done too much reduction, too much minimum filter. Can you see these nasty black halos around these stars now? I was too harsh on the minimum filter, so I'm going to have to step it off a bit. Maybe a 1.5. Do you mind? How dare you? Best 2 hours of your life. I'm really, that's really nice. I'm glad you've enjoyed it that much. Christopher. Okay, you're back. Welcome back, Earth Serpent. Don Lol. Should I downscale the link? Oh, is it one of those like really enormous links with loads of alphanumeric behind it? Yeah, if you want to downscale it, that'd make my life a bit easier. Right, just because it's selecting all of this, it's not able to. So what I'm going to have to do with this is I need to put a black mask over it. No, I want to put a white mask over it so I can see all the stars I've done. But then I'm going to take a black paintbrush. And I just need to, with a very low hardness, where is my hardness? With a low hardness, I'm just going to paint that back in there. So it doesn't have that horrible look around it. The power of star reduction is probably my favorite imaging step. Drizzle integration. So it's a really big file size, Enrico. I don't mind if it's a big file size at all. I can deal with it. Whoops. Oh, there's some clouds forming. Has my weather forecast changed? Man, I'm getting cold now. I put some shorts on earlier because it was a bit warm, and now I've had the window open as well, and now I'm getting cold. So my forecast has changed from being clear from 10 o'clock until 4 a.m. to being clear from 11 p.m. till 2. Wonderful. Here's the image I came up with, Rose. Let me know if you want to use it. Like the videos, more live stuff would be good. 35 gigs, did you say? Find a nice Gaussian blur after star reduction is quite good. Yeah, especially if you're using layer masks as well. If you're making a mask and you really want to feather that edge out, a Gaussian blur is the way to go for sure. But I can see how a Gaussian blur after star reduction is really powerful. I think it was like 8 hours O3 and 5 hours HA. That's a commitment, that is. Don, no problem at all. Thanks for sending me the image through. Now, I'm going to level with you guys. I was thinking about making a Patreon. And I thought about this whole like editing your images step as a Patreon tier. And I don't know how I feel about it. I almost feel a bit scummy for wanting to make a Patreon. But, like, honestly, I felt pretty, I don't know the right word. I kind of felt a bit tacky for putting ads on my videos when I was able to. But, I don't know, I feel like I want to make a Patreon because it'll help me afford better camera gear and more equipment. But at the same time, I kind of feel like, I don't know how I feel about it. But I enjoy this editing photos thing. This is a lot of fun for sure. So I'll probably do some more of these streams. You want it sent in back to you? Okay, mate. Alright, dude. Oh, I need to do a crop on it. Hang on. $5 a month. Yeah, that was the other thing that I was struggling with Patreon, like finding out what kind of tiers and what prices to ask. Like, they say that, oh, you need to value your time, and I'm really bad at valuing my own time. Like, I do this a lot because it's a hobby and it's passion and I enjoy it. Patreon is never the issue, just value your time and services properly. By that do you mean like people don't mind Patreon? Yeah, and a noiseless Japanese fan. Yeah, this laptop is awful. I miss my desktop PC. Definitely miss my desktop PC because it had actual cooling system in it. So I'm gonna I think it's got enough power in it now. I can pull that out for a time being. Plus also like 3 hours of streaming and editing is going to take a toll on the laptop battery. Don's Saber. Fan not too bad. Yeah, it seems like people are having different experiences with my laptop fan. I mean, to me, it honestly feels like a jumbo jet taking off. I tried plugging my lavalier mic into the laptop, and whilst it avoided the sound of the fan, for some reason the volume was really low, and no matter what settings I changed, you couldn't hear me any louder, so I didn't use my lavalier mic. I wanted to use my DSLR, but you need to get like hardware encoders and all sorts like that, and it was just a lot of money. If I was doing live streams properly, maybe add some thermal grease. I thought about doing that. I thought when I had the back end off, I thought about taking the cooling system off and upgrading the thermal paste on it. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put some liquid metal on it. Maybe I've seen Linus Tech Tips do that. No problem at all, Don. Thanks for that. I mean, that's a lot of fun to image. That was a lot of fun to process. Wish you had better. Look, mate, we all wish we had better. What you had there for 1 minute subs is great. Like, as soon as you convert it to mono, that image really kicked out. It'll really look good. I mean, that sounds really full of myself. What I mean is that you had some good data there for a mono image. Linus also has a system where the system is in a completely different room. Yeah, Linus also has a lot more money than me. Canon release software that uses a webcam. Oh, okay. I thought I tried to look into that. Well, I looked into it trying to find a way of using it in OBS. Maybe that's where I was going wrong. I'll have to look into that, Joe. Yeah. If I can use it as a webcam, that'd be great. Though I don't know how my system would like appreciate that, having a 24 megapixel camera as a webcam. Though I guess it'll downstream it to 1080. You're welcome, Don. No problem at all. No problem. Yeah, I think I'll do more of these editing live streams. Maybe not 3 hours next time, but this has been a lot of fun. It's been great fun hanging out with everybody. Had some great questions, some good conversation going. So I'll leave it another 5 minutes or so, and then I think we all should nip off and do our own thing. I need to put some longer trousers on. I'm so cold now. What was your guys' favourite image you've ever taken? Like, what was your favourite photo you've taken? T6i is a business camera with that software. Is that the EOS utility software? My Nikon is 23 something pixels. Just emailed me the data. Cheers, James. I'll see if I've received it. Crescent Nebula narrowband data. Yep, got it. JH Astro Photography. Thanks, dude. Carina Nebula. Ah, the Carina. Lovely. Iris Nebula, yep, another nice one. If I put a focal reducer on a doublet, does it become sort of like a triplet? No. No. So, the Orion Nebula is a classic. A focal reducer isn't so much as like the third lens on a refracting telescope. What that does is for bringing the light waves together into one place. A focal reducer flattener doesn't do that. What it does is corrects the field curvature. Whilst a triplet would already do that normally, but even with triplets you'll still need to use a flattener. What the third element in a triplet telescope does is helps bring the wavelengths of light more towards the same focal plane. That's what happens with achromatic doublets. Sometimes the wavelengths don't reach the same focal plane, and that's why you have chromatic aberration. So a high quality ED doublet is as good as a bad triplet, but a good triplet will bring all those light waves to the same point and also have better star color and clarity to the glass. Joe, yeah, I think I remember seeing your Heart or Veil Nebula, and like, I kind of strive to be at your level, dude. Webcam beta released recently. Awesome. I'll have to look into that. Thank you. Don loves this. Please do more. I plan on doing it, mate. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I kind of like put off live streaming a bit, but I'm glad I did. Had a peak of like 55 people watching. That was mad. To be honest, there's still like 20 more people than I thought might have been here. Outside it's a bit cooler here. Yeah, I can imagine. It's getting chilly tonight. Getting chilly from that heat wave. Like all the headlines on my apps is constantly saying that there's another heat wave hitting. And first of all, that makes me sad because I have a non-cooled DSLR. But also I'm like, where is this heat wave? I'm freezing. More money. Two hours. This live stream's been 3. EvoStar 72 and 80 are doublets too, right? Yes. So the EvoStar 72 ED and the 80 ED are doublet telescopes with what's called an extra low dispersion glass in it. That's the ED. And what that helps is, what that does is, it helps bring those light waves to another point as well. That's what, if you're getting a doublet, you should really look for ED, especially if you're imaging. Now, if you have a longer focal length doublet, like a higher f-stop, like f12, or a really long 800 or 1000 millimeter focal length refractor, that can also help limit chromatic aberrations. Do Patreon, I'd say. Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm trying to think of what tiers and what prices to make for Patreon at the minute. What I also love is that it's getting dark outside now, but this big old light I have here that I got for my birthday is working spectacularly. ED, yes, the 80 ED does have FPL 53 glass. The 72 I think doesn't, because it says it has different glass in it than the 80, 100 and 120 ED. Yeah, they don't tell you what's in the 72. All they do is says it's different. I think it's probably FPL 51. What's the point of triplets? A lot of the time, if you have a good quality triplet, they have much better star colours to them. And they normally have better resolution, I believe. So that's one reason why I see people say, unless you really want a triplet, sometimes you don't need to go for a triplet. I really want an Esprit or the Stellar Mirror, but honestly, I'm not finding too much wrong with my 80 ED at the moment. I've had it now for nearly 2 years. Like, I've had it for a year and a half, and I still keep going back to it, and it's still a great workhorse of a camera, of a telescope. Works absolutely fine. Not really noticed any chromatic aberration in it either. Like, there's been times when, like, you see in this Horsehead Nebula, Almanac is definitely one of those images, one of those stars that would produce chromatic aberration if it was going to be there. And the 80 ED, like I said, I recommend anyone the 80 ED, the Skywatcher EvoStar 80 ED, any day, because it's just, for the amount of money you get, it's a lot of telescope for the amount of money you get. If I had to choose just one telescope OTA, which would you go for? Personally, I'd go for a Celestron Edge HD. Ooh. What would I go for? If I had the mount for it, I'd probably go for the Stellar Mirror or an Esprit. I love your William Optics GT71 triplet. Yeah, at one point, First Light Optics was saying that they were going to send me a William Optics telescope to review, but they had a shipment issue. I was really looking forward to getting it, and then I got this 2 Stellar Lyras, the classic Cassegrains. I mean, I'm very excited about those. But yeah, I'd love to try a William Optics sometime. Just at the minute, because we're looking at moving, me and my partner are looking at moving again soon. We have to save money up, and we're also trying to save for a mortgage as well. So it really limits the budget for me buying my Astro goodies, which is one reason why, like, I'm going to sell the HEQ5 Pro, and I don't know what I want to do with that, like the money from that. I kind of thought about getting the 135mm f2 Rokinon lens to put on the Sky Guider. But I also feel like saving up, maybe getting a telescope or a camera. What do I think of the ES102? Well, from what I've seen from Trevor, it's an amazing telescope. It seems really good. It has a good it's 714mm focal length at decent f-stop. And it seems good. I've seen one in person. They're very light. The focuser is a bit... The focuser felt a bit naff. It felt very cheap for a £1,500 telescope. Ordered a 72 ED in June 26th. Yeah, there's First Light Optics put a post up on the Stargazers Lounge that because of the pandemic, the weak links in the supply chain have made themselves obvious, and there's a lot of issues with the supply chain at the moment. They estimate it might take a few months to get everything back on top, so we just got to be patient at the minute. Love the stream, need to go. If Patreon is the future, let us know. That rhymed, Phil. I wonder if you knew. Phil, thanks very much for joining in. I love the support. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Clear skies, buddy. Buddy. Did I send the finished pic? Not yet, Don. I will. I'm balancing things at the minute. I just saved it though, so let me send it back to you. Flo sent it ahead of the adapters. Yeah, the focus knobs fell off mine. Wow, I didn't know like that. Yeah. I asked Trevor the same thing about when I was looking at getting the 102 ED myself. I asked Trevor what he thought about it. He said the focuser was bad. And then, like I said, I went to the International Astronomy Show in England, and I saw one myself, and I could see what he meant by it. So I definitely probably think about upgrading the focuser on it. Don, I'm going to get that sent over. By the way, guys, let's look at this. Look at the size of this box. This is the CEM70. You know, I thought my EQ6R Pro was a bit heavy. But yeah, that's pretty bad. Let's see, we've got Don says, Stack Crescent Nebula Narrowband M13 data from Mike. Send Don a bill. Buy Affinity. Yes, Affinity is a great bit of software. I made a bit of a hash of it earlier. Like I said, I'm still getting used to it myself. Come on. Come on. Look at this beast. Look at this. It's huge. It's pretty heavy. When I pulled it out of the packaging box, I wasn't expecting to get this kind of metal case. I tried to find somewhere in my house where I could leave it fully set up, but I just can't. Yeah. Any idea of putting that mount on a permanent pier? I got the tri-pier with it, but I alluded to this earlier, Walter. I mortgaged this house. I don't mortgage this house. I rent this house, sorry. So I can't make a permanent pier, for example. I did get the tri-pier, and I've never used a pier. I only use tripods. When Ioptron says their mounts are light, they don't tell you that's light is a relative firm. Yes, that is very much true. I put the 8-inch Cassegrain on it earlier with the counterweight and all set it up, and I tried to carry it, and I can, but man, I've took gearboxes out of cars which weren't much heavier than that setup. So yeah, I normally keep my EQ6R Pro in a shed outside, right, which would be great for the Ioptron, but because it's a loaner, it's on loan for review, I'm not going to do that, so it's going to stay indoors. So you have to bolt it down to the tri-pier. There's no like pass-through bolt like some other mounts have. You've got to get an Allen key out and tighten it up to the tri-pier. Yeah, definitely. Wife won't let you. I've been looking at the Ioptrons for a while, to be honest. Before I got the EQ6R Pro, I was looking at it. They say it's like according to the moon's gravity. I got CM60, and due to its center balance handle, can over 60 pounds and yeah, they can hold a lot because of the center, the center balancing on it. I think the payload capacity of the CEM 70 is like 31 kilograms. Alexa, what's 31 kilograms in pounds?
31 kilograms is 68 pounds 5 ounces.
Yeah, so I think it has a 68 pound payload capacity. Tripair plus Telegizmos 365 equals observatory. Yeah. But I just wouldn't have to. I wouldn't dream of doing that here. But 50 would be the max. Yeah. Yeah, you might not want to go too heavy on them. Like, they could probably carry it, but there's always that like rule of thumb of going to like 50 or 60% of the imaging capacity for astrophotography. Does anyone have a CGX? Got a setup. Yep, Joe, no problem at all, mate. Thanks for joining in. And thanks for letting me edit your data, dude. Have a good night. Clear skies, buddy. So my forecast is changing, but the forecast of out the window looks alright. So what do you think I should do tonight? Should I take the equipment out and try and do a bit of DSO or set up the new equipment? Or should I get a nap and then find somewhere to go and take a picture of Neowise? Don't tighten the stops on the mount too much, they can scream. Yes, the CEM 70 is belt driven. It looks like it's direct drive, but if you look closely you can see the belt drive. I think I'm going to go Eagle Nebula. I'm so jealous, Amy. The Eagle Nebula, I've only had one look at it once when I was in my old house because I could see stealth. But it's absolutely wonderful. Dawn ordered the CGX, but after I looked at big and heavy, cancelled and flying over the Astro 6 one and tracking was way better. Get a nap and go over Neowise. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do because comes once a 6,800 years, right? Not every day you have a comet that's this close. Why not both? Neowise would be back. Yeah. When I'm long dead, it would be back. JD Partridge got some bad M16 data you can play with next time. I've got some bad M16 data as well. Trying to put them together, maybe we'll get something good out of it, yeah? Forecast says clear weather at 4 AM, going after Neowise. Excellent. Hoping to see Neowise in the south. As in you're in the south of the country and you want to look north? It'll be lower and lower in the horizon. Another email. Great live stream, but it's New Zealand. Oh yeah, I know what you mean now. Yeah, you're waiting for it to come down to the south of the southern hemisphere. When I got my CEM 60, the guy plonked it in my hands and said, "Light, isn't it?" I almost couldn't hold it. I hope he said it in a clearly sarcastic tone. Oh, excuse me. Where's the attachment button there? Don, I'm sending you your picture now, but Just got because I'm sending it back as a TIFF, it has to go convert as a Google Drive link. All right, so I'll get it sent to you. Get a shot of Neowise. Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. I am a long time Celestron person, but sorry to say no more. With the CM60 comes with the mount tracking in arc seconds. I don't think the CGE does. I like this because it means the mount was tested. I've got to take that nap. Yeah, I'm feeling like I've got to take that nap as well, and plenty of coffee as well. You know what? My first telescope was a Celestron T70, like the little travel scope, and then from there I was looking at the AVX, and a lot of people saying Celestron good. And then I got the HEQ5 Pro, and then I suddenly started seeing a lot of people complaining about the Celestron's mounts. But then at the same time, I also heard a lot of people complain about Skywatcher mounts. I don't know if my Sitchin Nuge can reach out to NGC 4567. Amy, what's the focal length? What's the focal length of the f-stop, the focal ratio of your 6-inch newt? Ah, mate. Neowise the last 3 days with your naked eyes walking the dog. That sounds wonderful. Give me a second, I'm just addressing something. Okay, man, gotta get doggies and the portable pier is also messing up. Too much for me. Oh, I was just changing something over so I can get Stellarium up. To be honest, it's probably a bad idea to try and change settings during a stream. Yeah, so I'm trying to get Stellarium up, that's why. Bit of a mistake that. Oh boy, I've moved something and broke a lot. Walter, thanks for joining in. Kids want dinner. I want dinner as well. F5, okay. Telescopes, 6-inch f5, that will make it focal length is 750 at 150. Clear skies to you too, Walter, thanks for joining in. Okay, Amy, you're looking at what? NGC 4567. NGC 4567. Siamese twins, fish and chips galaxy. Wow, I never heard of that. If it's a galaxy, it might be a bit too small. Yeah, I mean you'll be able to get it in with a DSLR camera, but it's going to be a bit small in the frame. If you can see this, Can you guys see Stellarium, by the way? Is it showing? Let's see what else we got. Cool. CM40 looks good. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go, Amy. That's what you'll be able to see. That's even if you don't use the coma corrector. If you use the coma corrector on it, it'll be even wider. You get most of Andromeda in. The issue I find with the CEM25, just for my 2 pence into this, is like, well, is it the issue? It's one of those things. The CEM25 is very comparable to the HEQ5. It can hold just a bit more, but I think the CEM25 is more expensive. Then you've got the CEM25P and then the 25P EC. NGC 4567. I tell you what, Amy, you've put this into my mind now. I wonder what this would be like with those 2 net telescopes I've got. Yeah, could try it. Oh, F12 though, what are these? Magnitude 11, oh boy, they're dim. You should do a project on NG3 4567, never undone it. Yeah, Amy, that's a good idea. I might. Where is it actually? Will I even be able to see it? Is it north, south? Where is it? Southwest. Maybe able to see it. You see, the problem with me, I have a house that blocks my entire southern view, so none of this I'd be able to see. So if I can see this, I might try the 8-inch on it. It could be good. Oops. Oh, Don, I just accidentally closed the window, dude. I'll have to send it again. Right. I think we should call it there, guys and girls. It was 3.5 hours. Yeah, I did that in my old garden, mate. I had the custom landscape in my old garden. I need to do it for this one as well. I just need to find a good point and then figure out how tall the houses actually are so I can get it accurately put in. What I need to do now anyway is I should probably go into Google Maps and try and find some nice areas around where I could probably travel to and see north, so I could shoot thingy, Neowise. Amy, thank you for joining in. Hope to see you again sometime. Chainsaw. Explore Scientific to see CMOS cameras? That's news to me. Yeah. No problem, Don. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, guys and girls. I think that's it now. So, thanks everyone for joining in, especially like Don. Holy crap, man. 3.5 hours, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And everyone else, thanks for everyone joining in. It's made this my first live stream. You're not subbed now. Thank you very much, Amy. Thanks for your support. Yeah, thanks for making this first live stream really great. It's better than I honestly thought it was going to go. Had a lot more people, a lot of engagement. Great. Go to town then. See you later, everybody. Clear skies, everyone. Keep looking up. Keep them cameras clicking. See you later. End.